Hi, hello, I miss you all so much. Happy Sunday, everybody. If you are currently watching this live, it is 5 p.m. EST, and I'm so happy to see all of you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dough Cooking Stream, the Dough Cooking Show. And I see that we have a lot of lovely friends in chat. I see that we have Jack. I see that we have Dosky. I see that we have Trash Can Cat Mom. I see that we have Dolingo, Keo Desuru. Hello to Keepers. Hello to Andrea. Hello to October's Brain as well. Hello, I don't think I missed anybody. I did. Hello to Liam. Hi. It's good to see all of you. Welcome in, everybody. And also hello to Andy Nocturnus. Welcome in, everybody. I'm pretty excited for today's stream. We're going to be doing a bunch of things that we don't typically do. But, you know, just be a couple of new things, some old things. We'll talk about a lot of theory. Also, welcome on in, Andy. It's lovely to have you. How'd you find the stream? How'd you find the show? At any rate, it's good to have you. Yeah, if you're watching this live, it is currently 5 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday. I'm a little bit tired. I partied pretty late and pretty hard last night until like 4 a.m. I was just gone for a couple of days. Also, hello to Good Weirdo. So I apologize if I'm like a little bit low energy today, but we have quite a huge agenda. Today's a Sunday. We're going to make a bunch of different dishes, and I'm really excited for all of them. As always, you can type an exclamation mark menu in the chat to see what we'll be doing, but I'm going to talk to you about what we'll be doing. Also, hello to Mmph. It's really nice to have you. So, my friends, we are going to be doing today 3 separate dishes. And this all started because I had a couple of things in my fridge that I wanted to get rid of. This is all about building up the home ecosystem. This is all about looking at the things that you have at home and then being like, okay, what is about to go bad? What do I need to get rid of? Okay, so let's have a little sip of water. Everything, my friends, started with this today. I have a block of feta. I have a block of feta cheese. This is my German double cream feta. And also, hello to Red Shirt. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. Welcome on in. So this is not Greek feta, but this all started because I have this big block of feta that I wanted to get rid of and use in a couple of things. So this inspired one of the first things I'll be doing, which is just going to be a bit of a Greek salad today. So if you take a look at my lovely little assortment of vegetables, maybe ignore the red pepper, it's not going to go in the salad, but we have some cucumbers, we have some tomatoes. We'll be doing a very classic, very traditional Greek salad. We'll be doing it with some oregano. We'll be doing it with some cucumbers, with some tomatoes. We're going to have some onions in there. I'm going to show you how we take care of the tomatoes and onions and the cucumbers so the salad isn't too wet or too diluted. It's going to be really tasty. It's going to be nice and acidic with some vinegar. Okay, you can't really have a Greek salad without some olives. So I have a big, beautiful batch of olives. In fact, I'm going to have one as a little snack here. What kind of olives these are, I don't know. Maybe Calamatas, but it's a good olive. I love olives to death. I love olives so much. Yeah, a little bit salty, a little bit briny. It's going to be so nice in a salad that we're doing. Yeah, as mentioned before, we have the red onion that'll be going into the salad, right? That's the Horiatiki, right? So we're going to be adding in some red onion. I'm going to show you how we treat it so it's not like too pungent or anything. Also, welcome on in, Sparky. It's really good to have you. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, so that's like basically the rough components of the salad. We have cucumbers, we have tomatoes, we have onions. We're going to be doing some olive oil because you can't really have Greek food without olive oil. And then we're going to shred some of the feta cheese, and I'll show you exactly how we do that and how we get the feta to be firm enough so that it can be shredded on top. It's basically taking a little bit of inspiration from like a shepherd salad, from a Turkish shepherd salad that I ate growing up at like my local Turkish restaurant, where they do like a big pile of like the shredded feta cheese on top. Not like a slab, not like chopped up, but like shredded, grated feta cheese. And I have an idea of how to do that. So that'll be really nice. Okay, next, the main components for today, the main dish for today is going to be the Keftedes, right? It's just basically going to be some meatballs. So if you take a look here, I have a pound of ground beef. It's a little bit leaner than I would like. You would typically want to shoot for like an 80-20 in terms of like lean to fat ratio. It's just a pound of ground beef. You know, it'd be really nice to also do this with like lamb, or you can do like a little mix of pork and lamb and beef. I just got some beef today. So a pound of ground beef, and I'll show you how we make the best meatballs. Okay, because there's a lot of theory that goes into meatballs. To make really special, tender and juicy meatballs, I'll show you all of my different steps. I'll show you all of my different processes, and it'll be pretty exciting. And into the meatball, we're gonna have a little bit of fried onion. So I just have an onion here. We're going to basically cook it down. I'll show you exactly how we do that, and I'll explain to you the function of why we do that. What else will go in my meatballs today? I have a little bit of bread. I have an egg. You want to make sure they have like a nice little stale hunk of bread. You can also just use fresh bread and it'll be fine. This is what's going to contribute. Ooh, my egg almost fell out. This is what's going to contribute to the tenderness of a meatball. You really, really need to have that bread. You need to have that starch component. Okay. What else? And then I have a big bunch of parsley. Some fresh parsley that we already washed up, put in a Tupperware with some paper towels. This is going to go both into the meatballs and into the salad today. Okay. And then, so normally you would do the meatballs, you would do the Keftedes with some mint. I unfortunately did not have any mint. So the dill at my grocery store looked really, really nice today, so that's what I'm going to just sub in. Is it going to taste the same? Absolutely not. It's going to taste like dill instead of mint, but you know what? It's still going to be delicious. I love doing meatballs with a bunch of herbs inside because they get like super aromatic, they get super, super flavorful, and I love using dill any chance I can get. I feel like this is one of the most underused herbs in an American household. Nobody really knows what to do with dill. Everybody's association with dill, at least in the West, at least in the United States, is, oh, you cook it with salmon. You make salmon with dill and lemon. But growing up Russian, dill can be used in so much more in so many different things. I love dill to death. And I'll be showing off some of the dill. I'll put some in the salad. I'll put some in the meatballs. It'll be excellent. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set that behind me. What else do we have? What else? Oh, and then finally, the last component is we're going to be making a little Tyrokafteri. I don't actually know the best way to pronounce that, but what this is essentially is it's going to be a spicy feta dip. It's going to be some blended up yogurt. It's going to be some blended up feta. And then I still have some of these spicy chilies that I wanted to get rid of in the fridge. I have like these bird's eye chilies, and we'll be combining that with some of the red pepper. Okay, and it'll be really delicious. It'll be really creamy. It'll be really smooth. It'll just be a really lovely sauce to serve with the meatballs. I feel like in general, I love any kinds of peppery sauces to serve with meatballs. It's just like a really, really natural pairing in my mind. And so this is gonna be nice. It's gonna be like this cheesy, like feta yogurt, like really, really creamy dip. I'm gonna put it on the plate. I'm gonna put the meatballs on top of it, and we'll have a little bit of a salad. I think that should cover the gist of it. We have a lot of components. We have a lot of things to do today. Is everybody ready? Are you all ready to learn how to make all these lovely little dishes? And once again, at any point, you can always type an exclamation mark menu in the chat for the dishes that we're doing. Also, welcome on in, Jim. Any questions whatsoever, I'm here to help you learn how to cook. I'll talk to you about all of my theory. I'll talk to you about how we make all of these things really, really special and really delicious. Because guess what? Everything that I'm doing here is all home food, but we give it a lot of love. We give it a lot of attention. We put a lot of technique into it because we want to elevate it and push it as far as it can go. Okay? So I'm just here to help you learn how to cook, and I'm just happy to be here. Okay. Also, really quickly, before we do begin, everybody, grocery costs are expensive. I want to be able to continue to teach you all how to cook for free. If anybody has, the ability to do so, the means to do so, you can type an exclamation mark Patreon in the chat. You can scroll down. You can go into the About section if you would like to support me. Any little bit there helps to cover the grocery costs of the streams. So that'd be really appreciated. Yeah. Okay. With that being said, I believe that we can begin. And once again, at any point, you can ask me any questions whatsoever. The order of operations is as follows. The last thing that we're going to do is meatballs. We're going to start with treating some of the components of the salad. I'll show you what we do and why we do it. And then we'll also begin doing the dip. So we're going to do a little bit of everything all at once. Let's begin. So let's head over to my cutting board that I have set up here and ready to go. Okay, as always, I have my bench scraper. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools that you could possibly buy. These things are super, super useful. You just got to go ahead and scoop everything off the cutting board without needing to worry about dulling your knife or anything. And under my cutting board is a moist paper towel. The moist paper towel is going to stop this cutting board from sliding around. This isn't necessary if you have like a big butchery block and it stays nice and stable, or if your cutting board has like rubber feet or something. But if you don't have that, a nice wet paper towel is going to adhere to the bottom, and it's going to keep the whole thing nice and in place with all of that friction that it's adding, okay? So the last thing that you want is a cutting board that's like you're cutting things and it's just sliding around all over the place. It's going to make a mess. It's going to be so unpleasant. Make your life easier. Set up the paper towel in advance. Is that clear? I want to hear yes, chef. Please and thank you. This isn't even a request. This is a command. I want all of you to get into the habit of doing so. Okay, so the first step is going to be as follows. So some of this feta is going to be used towards the dip, and some of this feta is going to be used towards my salad today. For the feta that needs to go into the salad, I'll be doing one of my favorite things to do with feta, and that is we're going to freeze it. Feta, or any other soft cheese, any other really, really crumbly cheese, if you try to chop it up, if you especially try to grate it, okay, what's going to happen is it's going to be a big mushy mess. So we're going to have to cut this bad boy in half, and we're going to have to put it in the freezer for the cheese that we're using for the salad today, okay? I'm going to use maybe this much for the dip, and this is all going to go towards the salad. So I'm going to take this bad boy, and I'm going to put it into the freezer. Also, goodbye, Jack. It was lovely to have you for the time that we had you. This I'm just going to go ahead and pop into the freezer. You want to do this like maybe 40 minutes, an hour beforehand. I want it super firm because, again, I want to shred this. I want to shred this feta. Okay, in order to do that, this has to be super, super cold. So into the freezer this goes. And the other feta, I'm just going to set aside. I'm going to leave it on a little plate until we are ready to use it, okay? Again, I think it's a fairly important step. This is not something that you want to skip out on at all. Okay, you try to chop up that feta, you're going to make a huge mess. That feta is also a double cream feta, so it's really, really smooth. It's not as crumbly as like the Greek feta that you might be associating with like typical Greek salads. So it's imperative that you do so. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay. So the next step, and the reason we're doing this so far in advance, is because we need to leach out water out of the vegetables. So we have tomatoes and we have cucumbers. And if you guys know anything about vegetables, if you guys know anything about vegetables, you will know that these things are wet. You will know that they're wet and they're full of water. As soon as you put them into a salad, the salad is going to saturate with all of the liquid from the cucumbers, from the tomatoes. My favorite thing to advise people at home to do, they can use to really, really elevate your salads. Right? This might seem common sense to some of you that might have been cooking for a while, but this is not something that I see a lot of people do. This is only a very recent approach. Salt these things in advance and then strain out the liquid. We're going to salt the tomatoes, we're going to salt the cucumbers, we're going to let it sit in a bowl for like 45 minutes and then strain out all of that excess liquid. That way, a salad, the dressing, all the flavors, all the seasonings, they won't get diluted with all of this vegetable water. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to take my cucumbers, I'm going to set them aside and behind me for now. Let's work on my tomatoes. So we need a bowl that is big enough to accommodate. Let's do this one. We need a bowl that will be big enough to accommodate all the cucumbers and all the tomatoes comfortably. So let's begin. Here's the bowl. And then we're also going to need, as always, a little teeny tiny waste bowl. Okay, because we're going to be taking the cores out of these tomatoes because they're a little bit woody. They're kind of an unpleasant texture in the salads. Okay, so let's begin. I am going to be gloving up. You don't have to be doing this. I'm gloving up purely because, you know, I have eczema on my hands and tomatoes are really acidic. So, Dr. Slober asks, do you have a preferred kind of tomato or cucumber, or could you use any kind? So these are my favorite kinds of cucumbers. You'll typically see them be sold as Persian cucumbers. Also, unfortunately sold as Israeli cucumbers. That is the main variant, at least in New York, of like what it's called. But you see them kind of interchangeably used with Persian, and I'm going to be calling them Persian cucumbers. So, Persian cucumbers are my favorite. I don't love English cucumbers because the outside of it is like kind of like waxy and like really, really smooth. I really prefer the flavor and the texture and the skin to flesh ratio of these. And as for the tomatoes, I would advise you to use the best ones that you have available. It's the winter time. You know, we don't really have really good tomatoes at the moment, so just use the best ones. These are vine tomatoes. You can use beefsteak tomatoes, you can use cherry tomatoes, you can even use plum tomatoes. Use the best, use the ripest tomatoes. Yes, an heirloom tomato would be excellent. Just use the best quality produce that you can get, okay? So, let's begin. Here's what we're going to do with the tomatoes. So we need to get the core out of it. Traditionally, here's what people would do to get the core out of a tomato, and I'm going to show you why I use the method that I use. This is what people do when they want to get a core out of a tomato. They take a paring knife and they go in with a circular motion and they saw it out. I hate doing that. I feel like it destroys the flesh of the tomato from the inside. And you need a very sharp paring knife in order to be able to get away with such a motion. I think, to me, the optimal method for something like this is why I do it this way. I take a tomato, I cut it in half, I grab it in my hands, and then I'm making a diagonal incision 1, and I make a diagonal incision 2, and then it pops out. You see the core of the tomato? It just pops out, and the rest of it is inside. right? The rest of the tomatoes kept nice and intact. That's my preferred way to do it because I don't like pointing the tip of the knife at myself. I don't think that's a very safe motion. And so I really, really prefer just getting exactly Duolingo, just getting that little wedge out of it. So we're going to repeat this over the course of all these little tomatoes. And yes, so Sparky, if you're talking about like tomato like goop and like the wetness, that is usually from really, really wet variants of tomatoes like beefsteak tomatoes. The smaller the tomato, typically the thicker the flesh is, in my experience, and less of like the tomato seeds you'll get. And also that's because of the way that I cut it, right? Like if you notice, if I cut it like this way, like across the sort of natural indentations of the tomato, you won't really see the seeds on the inside. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and pop that out. Let's get rid of that quarter, and let's get rid of the last one. So yeah, I much prefer this method. Just be very gentle. I just think it's a lot easier to do it this way than to take a paring knife and to just dig in that way. I do not really advise people to do that. You only need to do that if you're gonna like do like, let's say you're doing big slices of tomatoes for something like a burger, like a sandwich, and you wanna keep the tomato whole. That's the only time I would advise you to use the paring knife method. Is that clear? Does everybody understand me? Okay, let's think about the salad. I love chopped salads. I hate salads where everything is cut into massive pieces. I don't want it to be so fine that we're getting like a minced tomato. I don't want it to be so big that we're basically getting massive chunks of tomato and that's all you can get in a single bite. First thing I'm gonna do, I think I deserve a little tomato test. Let's get a little taste of this bad boy. For a wintertime tomato, that is not bad at all. That is really, truly not bad. So here's what I like to do. Tomatoes, something like this, especially because it's not that bad of a tomato. I want to keep it nice and chunky. So here's what we're going to do. Rating out of 10, that was like a 6. For like New York, like average grocery store tomatoes to be a 6 out of 10 in the winter is like amazing. I'm expecting these to be like a 2. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut it in half. Then we're going to cut it in quarters. Like so. And then for my ideal sized tomato, I'm thinking we do 2 slices just to cut this whole thing then into thirds. Just like that. Okay? And then before your cutting board gets too crowded, like I want medium chunks of tomato here. Again, not super fine or anything, but maybe even quarters. That might have been even a little too big. Something like this. Okay, again, you can cut it as big or as small as you would like. I just hate having massive chunks of tomatoes in salads because to me it gets really difficult to eat. Okay, next one going in. And let's cut this up. And we're going nice and gentle. If you ever feel like your tomato is getting like crushed and your knife can't slice through it, you have a dull knife. You have a dull knife. Don't believe this nonsense of like, oh, you need a tomato knife. You need a serrated tomato knife. All of that stuff is nonsense. You just need a nice sharp knife and you need to go in with a slicing motion, not a vertical chop. That's how you squish and crush your tomato and get all of its tomato guts on the cutting board. We're slicing it and we're using the full extent of our knives. Duolingo, we're going to be losing a lot of water weight, but they'll mostly keep their structure when we salt them. But that's a very good question. And Sunny Peach, this isn't a knife with a scale, it's a bench scraper. So I'm just using this to pick stuff up. And I love having the measurements here because if you're working in like a prep kitchen or like in a baking setting, it's very useful to measure things out with this. But that's not a knife, that's a bench scraper. I really recommend for everybody to invest into a nice bench scraper. Not even a nice one, you just need a bench scraper. So again, we're going through all of my tomatoes and we're chopping it up. And we're using the natural adhesion of it just to easily scoop it up and put in a bowl. And guys, don't overcrowd your cutting board. This is a small cutting board. We don't want food to start spilling out. We don't want to start getting accidental cuts. Okay? That was a good tomato. God damn. Guys, I'm impressed with these tomatoes. And let's get this chopped up, or sliced up rather. And we have one last tomato half to go through. Nice and easy. That is the beauty of having a sharp knife, and you want to make sure that you're using slices. Always slicing. Okay. Slice that up, and then we're going to go ahead and cut, and cut, and cut. And just like that, we've processed all 3 of my lovely little vine tomatoes. Get a load of this guy. right? So 3 fine tomatoes. Again, use the best kinds of tomatoes that you have available to you. It is the winter time, so, you know, you have to kind of limit your expectations if you want to do a tomato salad. But the salt is going to really help to make them fully seasoned. It's going to help draw out a lot of like that really, really bland liquid out of the tomato. It is imperative that we do this in advance. This is how you really level up. This is how you really, really evolve your homemade salads. Salt your wet vegetables in advance. Things like tomatoes, things like cucumbers. Okay? So, let's move on to the cucumbers now. Does everybody understand me? I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear to all of you. Okay, cucumbers. I've got these lovely little Persian cucumbers. Let's begin. So, we got to cut the butts off these things. I'm going to tell you something right now. If it's an English cucumber, I'm peeling it. If it's not an English cucumber, if it's a Persian cucumber, I'm not peeling it. I love the skin of these things. The other thing we won't do, we're not getting rid of the seeds in the cucumber. I hate it when people do that. I absolutely hate it when people get rid of the seeds in a cucumber. I think that has absolutely no purpose, okay? We're going to salt it, we're going to get rid of the excess liquid, but so much of the flavor and the texture is in the cucumber seeds. So, I'm going to show you how we do this. Let's cut these guys in half, and we're going to just cut them. We're going to slice them. We're not chopping them. Once again, we're slicing it, and there's a reason for this. Imagine we were to chop this. I want to show you what happens if we chop it. We chop it, and our knife ends up angling this way. It cleaves like an axe when you don't slice it. Okay? That's how you get one side to be a lot thinner and one side a lot thicker. In order to make sure that your knife doesn't slip, you want to use a slicing motion and not a chopping motion. Slice it, don't chop it. Okay? We always slice in this kitchen. We never chop things unless it's something like a butternut squash. We slice it, we go nice and slow, and that's how we get perfectly even matchsticks every single time. Okay, that's those guys. Let's get a couple more processed. Use an axe to chop up your winter tomatoes, Green Fang. Well, I'm glad it works for you. Okay, let's have a little taste of this cucumber. That's a pretty good cucumber. I don't mind that at all. Okay. Do I want 3 cucumbers? We're gonna do 3 cucumbers. I'm gonna make a big batch of salad. This is the kind of a salad, guys, that I love having in the fridge and then eating over the course of a couple of days. Okay? Especially because of the fact that we salt it in advance, it just holds up in the fridge really, really well. So, and we slice it, and guess what? We're gonna slice it yet again. And we slice it, and we get all of these nice little matchsticks. Not little, nice and chunky. Okay, and now let's think about the size that we actually want the final pieces to be. And there's a reason why I'm doing only like the same step over and over again, and then doing, like, I'm not like chopping these up in cubes and transferring it. I'm doing this essentially all at once so that I can just easily repeat the motions. It's like very like an assembly line way to do it. Also, thank you for stopping by, Audio Mmph. It's really good to have you. So once again, for the Greek salad that we're doing, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a nice little stack of cucumbers. Think about the size that you want. I like having them to be a little bit smaller than the tomatoes, but still pretty sizable. Okay? Again, this is completely up to you. Just think about what you want in a spoonful. Think about what you want in a forkful of cucumbers, of tomatoes, of the salad. Okay? We'll take our bench scraper once again, gently scoop it all up, and put it into the bowl. Excellent. And let's take the next batch. Grab these bad boys, and let's cube it. And let's cube it, and let's cube it. Let's keep it going until we're done with that entire stack, that entire pile. Make sure, again, you're not grabbing too big of a pile at once, otherwise it gets a little bit clunky, it gets a little bit cumbersome. Don't go so small that you're wasting all of your time. Just understand your hand size. Like, whatever you can comfortably grab in a hand, that is the size of the pile that you should be doing. Anything bigger than that, and things are just going to slip away and get really, really awkward very fast. So, chopping it up. Ooh, my pile ended up just sort of falling apart a little bit. That's okay. And one last batch. Yummy. Tasty even. Okay, and let's get this done. I love cucumbers so much. Yeah, so Sunny, you can do that. I am just thinking about like the texture of the cucumber that I ultimately want in my salad. I want like a really, really nice bite. My issue with cutting cucumbers a little bit too thin in something like a salad, they tend to get a little bit too soft. They tend to get a little bit too mushy as they tend to sit in the fridge. I like how durable they are when they're cut to such a big size. Okay, so guess what? We have successfully cleaned up all of our cucumbers and tomatoes. Okay, we had 3 vine tomatoes. We took the quarters out. We took the tops and bottoms off the cucumbers, and then I showed you how to chop it up. Now, this is the critical step. This is how you go from having okay soggy salads at home to having fantastic salads. We have cucumbers and we have tomatoes. So you know what we do? We salt it. We salt it heavily. A lot of this salt is going to be drained off and dissipating in a liquid. You want to use basically twice as much salt as you think you need. I don't have an exact ratio. I don't have an exact measurement, but I promise you, this looks like a lot of salt right now. A lot of it is going to go away when we strain this off, okay? We need the salt. The salt is to pull out the liquid. It's to pull out the excess of liquid. We want to heavily salt these cucumbers and tomatoes. Don't squish it. We're just picking it up and putting it down. Picking it up, putting it down. Just like so. It's going to be too salty. If you taste this right now, if you take a little bite of this, you're going to be like, ooh, that is unpleasantly salty. Guess what? Some of the salt is going to penetrate. You're just getting a big hit of salt on the outside of the vegetables, but you're not really tasting any of the salt on the inside. Okay? A lot of the water is going to dissipate. A lot of it is going to get drained off. Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust how much salt I just used. Do you understand? And look, you can already see, look how much water we have coming out already. Imagine how much water we'll have in 30, 40 minutes. Am I clear? Does everybody understand me? Okay, let's toss that up. And we're going to go ahead and put that behind me. That is tasty. Even as over-salted as it is, it's just fresh vegetables. Right, you can't really go wrong. Okay, so that's behind me. We're not going to proceed with the rest of the stuff for the salad quite yet, because now let's do the things that we need for the Tyrokafteri. This is a spicy feta red pepper dip. Okay, it's going to be blended up yogurt. It's going to be blended up lemon juice. It's going to be blended up red pepper, and it's going to be blended up spicy peppers. So I'm going to set my broiler on. I'm going to set it to high because, as always, when I'm working with peppers, one of my favorite things to do is to char them. We're going to char them. We're going to get them somewhat roasted. We're going to get them somewhat smoky, and then we're going to blend it down. Now, you can use any kind of spicy peppers for this. I only had these bird's eyes from before. Okay, so I'm going to be using a mixture of some red pepper and a little bit of bird's eye. Feel free to use any combination of these. If you don't want it spicy, just do it with some bell pepper. If you want it really, really spicy, you can do like cherry peppers. You can do these bell peppers. Use what you have available to you. You can even use jalapenos. You're just looking for some really nice spicy chilies. So I'm going to show you what we do. We don't need all of this bell pepper. I'm actually only going to need like one of these sides. Okay, just that one side. This is mostly for a little bit of extra sweetness. It's to give it some more texture and body. Okay, and then I already have a sheet tray wrapped in aluminum foil. This is going to go under the broiler, and we're going to get it charred and smoky and roasted. Okay, this is how we get a lot of extra flavor into the Tyrokafteri. So I don't think we need, you know what? I'm going to do one more bell pepper just in case, like one more little shaving of it, and then I'm going to put it aside. No, wait, I'm not going to put it aside. What do you guys think? Is it time for a little bell pepper snack? And I'm just shaving it like this, so I get to keep all the seeds on the inside. Is it time for a bell pepper snack? I think it's time for a bell pepper snack. Okay, so 2 shavings of that, and then this. You know what this is for? This is for Daramgar. This is for me. I love bell peppers. Okay. That was done. Sorry for munching so much. Let's move on with these chilies. So these are bird's eyes. They're really, really spicy. Okay. I don't want the seeds inside of these. They're going to add a lot of really, really unwanted heat. I want to be able to taste the feta. I still want a spicy dip and everything, but I don't want this to be completely overwhelming overwhelmingly spicy. Excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and grab a glove to keep ourselves nice and safe because it's inevitable that I'll touch my eyes after. I am going to rinse off my knife, my chef's knife, because it's a carbon steel knife and it just handled some acidic and wet things. And I don't want it to rust. Okay, I don't want it to oxidize. Also, thank you so much to Future Gay Parent for the sub. Thank you, thank you. It's lovely to have you. Okay, just gonna rinse that bad boy off and we're gonna wipe it off. Because again, if you have carbon steel knives, if you have cast iron, if you have any carbon steel tools, you want to make sure that you're keeping it dry and free of anything acidic especially, okay? That's how you keep them nice, and intact and safe for a long, long amount of time. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Once again, our waste bowl is ready to go. Right over here. Excellent. And now, let's trim these guys up. So, these little guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm using a paring knife because it's nice and small. A chef's knife would be a little bit too clunky. This is why you want to have knives of different sizes for different tasks. Although you can theoretically do everything with a chef's knife, it's uncomfortable. Having tools that are right for the job is what makes cooking fun, at least for me. Okay? So having a paring knife, having a petty knife even, something that is roughly the size of the vegetable that you're cutting is ideal. We're going to cut the head off. We're going to cut all the heads off of them. Okay? Just go through one by one. Teeny tiny little chef's knife. That's right, it's a little paring knife. And then we're going to slice them in half so that we can take the seeds out. Again, these are too spicy to have in a dip with the seeds intact. The seeds are going to add a lot of bitterness. So gently and safely, we just cut these bad boys in half, just like so. Okay. They're really, really small, so it's kind of like difficult to get in there. So I'd like going in like this. And then we just make the rest of the incision. And again, if you don't get rid of all of the seeds, it's okay, but I really would want to emphasize getting rid of as many as possible. It's going to blend up nicer when we actually make the dip itself. I just think it's a really good touch. Okay. And one last one. And so what's really nice about the fact that we've cut them in half, we've made them nice and flat and stable. And all that we have to do now is I just use my paring knife and I scrape out the seeds. And you really, really, really don't want to be touching this with your fingers. It's going to stick to your fingers, and then you're going to touch your eyes, or you're going to touch something else that you really shouldn't be touching, and you're going to feel the heat and the burn there for a long amount of time. So, we're taking those seeds out, and we're going to do this with every single one of these little chilies. We're getting rid of all the heat because, again, I want to really, really emphasize the fruity flavor of the peppers, of the chilies. At least you'll feel something. Yeah, anything just to feel something. That's pretty funny. That's pretty good. Okay. And get rid of all of it. And then we're going to use the bench scraper to clean it up afterwards. Just scrape it up, get it out of here. Has no place. And I think I've just accidentally inhaled some of it because I just got like a little something in my throat, which is kind of unpleasant. You really, really don't want to inhale any of these seeds. So again, gloves are kind of a must for something like this. Okay. And last one. Clean it up. Yeah, fluffy marshmallow. It's not particularly pleasant. So, let's go ahead and get rid of the last of these seeds. By scraping it like so aggressively, you end up getting some of it in the air as well. And again, we're going to be putting this under the broiler. We're going to be looking to essentially char the skins. Okay? We're going to be roasting them. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to get a little bit of extra smokiness. If you have a grill available to you, like an open fire grill or like a gas grill, that will also be really, really nice to do, right, instead. But you take a look, we've assembled on a foil line sheet tray. The foil is just so I don't have to wash the pan after. My bell peppers. And these are my little teeny tiny bird's eyes that have been de-seeded. They have to be de-seeded. They're going under the broiler, or if you're British, you would call this a grill. Oh no, I had another sheet tray. I had another wire rack in here. I totally forgot about that's been heating up. Okay, that kind of sucks. I'm gonna take it out just to cool this down now. So under the broiler this goes. And again, we're just looking to nicely char up those skins. We wanna get it nice and smoky. We wanna soften it. We wanna cook it down a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and just clean all this up. Grab my bench scraper, whoosh, and in it goes. Okay, let's get the rest of the stuff that we need for this dip. So we're going to need some lemon juice. We're going to need plenty of olive oil. We're going to need some yogurt. Let's get all of that together. I'm just being very, very diligent about scraping this up because we don't want to get like any additional spice and other things that we weren't really anticipating. So let's begin. I have, of course, this lovely little citrus juicer. Okay, I think we're going to need about half a lemon's worth of juice for something like this, although that is completely variable and it is completely dependent on how acidic and how much liquid your lemons end up having. Worst case, we'll just end up adding a little bit more later on. So, one lemon, one John lemon, okay? We're gonna take it and we're just gonna slice it in half. Okay, everybody, here's the thing that people get wrong about citrus juices. Here's the thing that people make a mistake of. They think, ooh, this side is round. This side fits the lemon in like this. That is not how you juice a lemon. The holes, the perforations are on the bottom. It might seem counterintuitive, but you want to put it actually flesh side down when you're juicing a lemon. That's how you get the most juice out of it, I promise. Okay? I know it might seem a little bit like unintuitive, but this is the biggest mistake that I see people make. And then I'm also going to get my blender cup out. This is where we'll be blending everything in. So here's what we'll do. I really, really like this KitchenAid citrus juicer because it's like flat on a tabletop, okay? And it has like a spout, which will like really, really easily let me just pour it into something. So I don't have to like hold this in my hands. I can just take this and I can press down with all of my might. Oh yeah, in it goes. And now let's take some of the juice. I ended up losing some of it on my table. I don't really know how that happened, but that's okay. And now let's give it a really ooh, how did that happen? How did I just lose all of my juice this way? Oh, my lemon burst. Gasp. I think my lemon was, why did I say gasp? That was embarrassing. I think my lemon was so big that it ended up bursting. Yeah. Okay. And I did it the wrong way. I'm an idiot. Remember the one thing I said not to do? I said not to do it flesh side up, and then I did it anyways. Oh no. I think that's actually why that happened. Okay. Ooh, this is a tough lemon. I'm actually going to need to trim off the bottom of it. Yeah, that was pretty dumb. Guys, do as they say, not as they do. All right, let's try that. Let's try that again. So let's take that. There we go. That's what it's supposed to do. That's what it's supposed to do. You see? Like that, and then look at all that lovely lemon juice we just got. And no, the holes don't go to the bottom. This is a 3-piece machine, so it has like a flat bottom. There you go. You see that? That's what it was supposed to do. That's what it was supposed to do that time around. Okay, so let's check on everything under the broiler at the moment. It's just looking good. We just want to make sure nothing is burning down there. Okay, that was a very, very good case study on what not to do. I'm glad that I could prove that to you. Guys, don't do it flesh side up. Do not do it flesh side up. Isn't it? I feel like that was the best lesson possible. Leading by example. Okay? That's the best thing that I can do here. Okay. Let's go ahead and wipe this off, and I'm going to have to rinse off my hands because my poor dainty eczema-ridden hands cannot handle that level of acidity on them. Let's wipe all that stuff off. Okay, and now I'm going to quickly rinse them off. Yes, I did that intentionally, guys, to show you what not to do. Rinse it off. I don't want that acidity on my hands. I want nothing to do with it. All right, let's wipe them off. And let's dump out my waste bowl. Okay. Keep that nice and fresh. All right, and then I no longer need the citrus juicer. So what's really, really nice about this KitchenAid one that I got is it's like this 3-piece machine, so it like holds all the lemon juice in this chamber. And it lets you use it on a table. So especially, it's like a really, really nice accessibility thing. If you like have hand problems, or like arthritis or carpal tunnel, or like whatever it can be, you can just leverage it down vertically instead of holding it in your hands. And that's why I really, really like this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this into my sink. I have no use for it anymore. We gotta clean as we go. Okay, and now, guys, you cannot have Greek food without an excess of olive oil. Okay, so we're gonna need a big, big generous glug. Something like that. I don't know how much that is, maybe a 1/4 cup. I don't know. We want a bunch of olive oil in there, is the answer. I'm checking on the oven, I'm checking on the broiler. I'm going to show you how everything is doing. And Robin, if you want to see what we're doing, type an !menu in the chat. just as October's brain did for us. So let's head to my stove really quick, just so I can show you how my charring vegetables are progressing. Again, we're charring it to get a little bit smoky, to get a little bit cooked, a little bit softened. All right, let's pull that out. Beautiful. Okay, so actually, I don't want to char and dry out and burn my bird's eyes anymore. I just want to keep charring my bell peppers. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take out the bird's eyes, and I'm just going to throw them into my lemon juice, into my olive oil. So just take them. You don't have to take the skin off of these. The bell peppers, we're going to try and take the skins off though, because I don't need that much smokiness. I don't need that much bitterness in today's dish. And let's take all those bird's eyes. I'm not going to put that one in. That one we'll just go ahead and toss away. So this time I'm going to be pushing it a little bit further, and we'll actually be peeling those skins off, okay? Because again, we don't need like that much bitterness. We don't need that much intensity in this. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back under the boiler until it's fully softened, until we've gotten a lot of the excess liquid off, and we got it nice and smoky. A nice like proper roasted pepper, okay? So, everybody, little recap session. Hello, hi. Is there anybody that's just now tuning in? We're doing 3 dishes today. We're doing Keftedes, which are Greek meatballs that are full of herbs. We're doing this really, really delicious like Greek feta dip called, you know, every time I'm going to say this, I'm going to end up butchering it, Tyrokafteri. Okay, Tyrokafteri are made of red peppers and chilies and lemon juice and olive oil, and it's really, really delicious. It's all going to be blended up, and it's going to be basically the sauce for the meatballs. And then we're also making a, Greek salad. So we have some cucumbers, we have some tomatoes, some feta, some olives, some herbs. It's going to be really, really delicious today. I'm excited. Are you excited? You better be. You better be. Gonna get some more water. And currently we're just charring up the bell peppers. All that we did so far is we salted the vegetables for the salad. We didn't even begin thinking about the meatballs yet. I just want to get some of the salad stuff out of the way. I want to get the stuff for the dip out of the way. And then we're going to blend it up, and it's going to be really, really delicious and tasty. Okay, in the meantime, let's head back to my overhead shot. Okay, so in my blender cup, these were the chilies, my like spicy chilies. It's going to be a really, really spicy dip. This is my olive oil and my lemon juice. Again, I'm not using measurements. This is not the kind of food, this is not the kind of cuisine that's about measurements. Also, thank you so much to Jay for the sub. Thank you, thank you. It's lovely to have you. Yeah, this is not the kind of a food that's about very strong measurements or anything. We're just going to be looking for a certain texture. The lemon juice is there for the acidity. Feta is going to be there for the saltiness and the taste. It's the base of the whole thing. Yogurt is going to be there for the additional creaminess. Olive oil for a little bit of extra richness and fattiness. And the red bell pepper is going to be there for the sweetness. So it's a very, very balanced spread. And this is so nice on like some warm bread. Well, in this case, we're going to be serving it with the meatballs. Okay, so this block of feta, this I'm just going to slice up a little bit smaller so it's easier for my blender to take care of. Just take this bad boy, and we're going to just chop it up. And again, it doesn't really matter. It's just mostly for, again, helping out my blender. Okay? Just get it in there. And this is like a really, really soft, really, really creamy feta. It's all going to come together in the food, in the blender. You can do this in a food processor, ideally, you know. I'm going to be looking for one that's super smooth though. You can keep this as chunky as you like. The texture is kind of just up to you. I want a really, really smooth, really creamy texture to then serve with my meatballs. Okay, and then we're going to add some yogurt. How much yogurt? I don't know. We're going to add a couple scoops of yogurt, and then if we want to add more, you know what? I think I'm actually going to fold the yogurt after it blends. I don't want to overstuff this blender or anything at this stage. I'm just going to fold it in after it blends up. Okay, so right now what we're waiting on is the bell peppers. So let's go ahead and take a look at these bad boys one more time. See how they're doing, see how they're progressing. Again, we're intentionally charring it, so it'll be like full of flavor, really nice and smoky, really nice and cooked through. You can do this also over an open fire if you would like. This is my favorite way to do it at home. That should be charred enough for me. That looks good. Okay, and now we probably should let these things cool down. We probably should let them cool down. Although, if you'd really like, you can try your best to peel them at this stage. Although that might be a bad idea because it's still kind of stuck on. Okay, I think we're going to have to let those cool for like a second. Okay, I know that looks super bright at the moment. Let's turn down that lighting for a second. It was like really, really reflective. But yes, we don't need a lot of bell pepper. Again, the bell pepper is not the start of the show. It's about the chilies. It's about the feta. Okay, let's get the bowl ready. Well, we will be like sort of mixing it and storing it in. I think I'm just going to do that in a Tupperware at that point. So I'm going to wipe down my station because we have like some of this feta on the cutting board and we don't really want that to get into the stuff that we're doing later. Let's take this and let's wipe it down. And we're just cooling down the bell peppers until I can feel like I can pick them up with confidence and peel them up. Again, the skins will be a little bit papery and it's not going to give us that like beautiful smooth spread that we're looking for. Okay, what did I need to do? I needed to set up my mixing station. That's right. I was going to just put this into a little container after, after we got it all blended together and store it essentially, right? So I'm looking for just any glass container, any glass Tupperware that is available for me. I think that should be big enough to accommodate this. Okay, that'll work. That'll be just fine. Okay, perfect. So all we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of yogurt in here, and then once this all blends up, we'll just add and mix it in. And yes, so Sunny Peach, the entire time, my cucumbers, my tomatoes have just been sitting in that salt. I'm gonna show you. Cucumbers, tomatoes, sitting in that salt. I want you to see how much liquid is coming out of it. The reason we're doing this in a bowl and not over a strainer immediately is because we want the salt to fully penetrate and to fully cover everything. If we were to do this over a strainer, it wouldn't evenly season, it wouldn't evenly salt. This is essential to make sure that you don't have soggy salads, okay? Really tasty. And again, it's not as salty as it was before because a lot of it has penetrated, so you're not getting that like salty crust on the outside. And a lot of that salt is in that dissolved liquid now. So all we're going to do is we're going to take a spoon, like a nice big spoon. You can just use gloves, you can use your hands, you can use anything you want. And we're just going to mix this around to make sure that salty brine is covering everything, continuing to season the tomatoes, continuing to extract all of that liquid. And then we'll strain it all off and we'll have a beautiful salad later. I'm excited about the salad. Really yummy. Okay. What type of tomatoes? Robin, use the best tomatoes that you have available to you. Vine tomatoes, you can use plum tomatoes, you can use heirlooms, you can use beefsteaks, whatever tomatoes look the best. Because this is a salad. A salad is about its produce. It's about the quality of produce. Okay? So use whatever tomatoes just look good. Okay, let's look at my bell peppers. How hot are they? They're a little bit hot, but I think we can handle them if we squelch your fingers a tiny bit. Okay, all I'm going to do with these is I'm going to peel them. There's no right or wrong way to do so. The really, really charred bits, they peel off like really easily. I'm going to grab a glove to do this. You can use like a paring knife to scrape it off. Just get it done. Get it done. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's always going to be a hassle. It's always going to be a little bit tricky to do so. So I'm just going to glove up and I think I'm just going to scrape it with the back of my knife. And yes, Trash Can Cat Mom, I love borscht. I grew up eating borscht. I grew up making it, right? Grew up in a Russian family. Speak Russian, it was my first language. And let's go ahead and we'll just peel this off. You want to get all these skins out. They're a little too papery for my intentions today. Usually I keep them inside, usually I don't mind them. But again, I'm really, really pursuing that ideal of like a smooth, creamy dip. You get the vibes? You understand what I'm going for? Good. Make borscht on stream? Maybe. I wonder if I want to do that. We could do like the kind like with beef. I never had it like growing up with beef. We had like basically a vegan version where we did it with cabbage and just like we made like a cabbage broth and it was really, really delicious as it was. Again, I want to get rid of as many of these skins as humanly possible without scraping off the flesh. That's fine. Again, we don't have to go too crazy with this. That'll be okay. And we're just going to cut this up into smaller pieces and once again put that into my blender cup. Okay? The more you char it, the more like roasted it gets, the easier it tends to peel off. Okay? So let's do this once again. Let's open up these peppers and let's get rid of all of that really, really papery skin and then we'll blend it up. It'll be nice. And again, the reason I'm not doing the yogurt now is because I have a fairly small blender. I want to make sure that I get everything inside really nice and smooth. Although we could probably just add yogurt. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much we can actually fit inside. And we don't need, I also want to emphasize, we won't actually need any salt. If we do, we'll only add it at the end. The reason for this is because feta, like anybody that's eaten feta can tell you how salty it is. Feta is one of the saltiest, like soft cheeses like that, right? You really, really want to make sure that you're not adding any salt at this stage because you don't really know how salty it's going to be until after it blends, okay? You can never take away salt once you add it in. And this is the kind of a thing that we can always add it in. We can always mix it up. It doesn't have to cook with the salt. It doesn't have to blend with the salt. It doesn't have to do any of that crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and take off all of these little red pepper skins. And it's like half roasted. It's like half raw. It'll be nice and sweet. It'll still have some freshness to the whole thing. Okay, almost done. Just getting rid of the last ones. And once again, peeling it up, cleaning it up. And I'm just going to cut this up into smaller pieces. Okay. And we want to blend this whole thing nice and smooth. Some people, they like this chunky. I don't like this chunky. I want this smooth. I want this creamy. I want to serve this with some meatballs. So let's head to the stove. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take the sheet tray and I'm going to set it aside because it has done its job for us today. We don't need this anymore. Everybody say thank you to the sheet tray. Thank you, Mr. Sheet Tray would be good. Okay, and now let's get some more light on this once again. I'm going to set up just this as like a flat surface. And this is my my blender. And again, I want a nice smoothie cream, like not smoothie. I want a nice creamy dip, okay? Smooth, creamy dip, okay? So, once again, in here I have a bunch of feta, some olive oil, some lemon juice, and this was a really nice way for me to get rid of feta. I didn't just want to use this feta for the salad. I wanted to come up with a really exciting use. It has the bird's eye chilies, not traditional, but I took the seeds out so it won't be too spicy, and some of the charred bell pepper. So we have the sweetness from the bell pepper, we have the saltiness from the feta, we have the creaminess from the yogurt that we'll add in later, we have the fattiness and the richness from the olive oil, the acidity from the lemon juice, and the heat of the bird's eye chilies. Okay, so let's take it and let's blend it. And we want to blend it smooth. Keep it going. Whoa, chill out. What's happening, buddy? You're struggling a little bit. Is it too thick? Let's shake it up. We might end up adding some of the yogurt directly inside to just help the blending process. A food processor is nice for a thick thing like this. A blender, not so much, but it's getting it done. Look at that. Nice and smooth. I don't want pieces of pepper, right? I want the feta, I want the olive oil, I want the lemon juice. I want it to all be properly incorporated together. You can see that beautiful like orange color it's taking on. And you want to make sure it doesn't blend too long either, because then you could heat up the feta and the texture gets like all weird. Right. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to open it up and then we're going to inspect it. We're going to inspect it and we're going to see how it's doing. We're going to just make sure that it is free and devoid of any lumps, any clumps. But look at that. That is blended up feta. Look how smooth that is. Ooh, that is spicy. Oh, that is so good. It's a little bit runny, right? We don't have like that much feta in here, but that is so tasty, guys. That is the peppers. Oh, it smells lovely. It smells like the cheese. It smells like, oh, that is excellent. Okay, in fact, I think just to make sure that it gets evenly mixed through, I'm just going to scoop in the yogurt directly in here and I'm gonna blend it one more time. We just need to blend it until it's incorporated evenly, okay? So I have some Greek yogurt. I have some full fat Greek yogurt, okay? Oh, thank you. It's lovely to have you. Thank you for stopping by. I'm just gonna do a nice big scoop, a nice big scoop of the Greek yogurt going in here. I love Greek yogurt. Okay, and let's take it and let's blend it up one more time. Back to the stove. Stove we go. And let's blend it up. And again, we're not looking to over blend this, just to incorporate the yogurt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. That's it. That's enough blending. Everybody, you ready for this? You ready for the final product of this? I'm really excited about this. I've never made this before, but this was like one of my favorite like dips, you know, like at Greek restaurants, you know? I never really get to make Greek food at home. Admittedly, this is not a cuisine I'm super knowledgeable on. And honestly, I'm tired of just always like people making, oh, you know, you gotta make like, you know, the moussaka, I forgot the pronunciation of it. You have to make lamb gyros. That's not a home food, okay? I want to do and explore all the different things that Greek cuisine has to offer. So take a look. Now, mine is really, really runny. Mine is really smooth. For a lot of people, theirs are thicker. It's because I didn't have that much feta cheese going in. But take a look. Look at that. That is going to be basically the sauce for the meatballs today. Let's have a little taste of this thing. We're going to keep it in the fridge because it's a dairy product. That is amazing. Everybody, this was so simple. I got to use up my leftover feta. This is what I call home cooking. This was so little effort. We just gave it a little bit of love by charring the bell pepper and roasting it. We charred up those chilies as well. But this is all simple stuff. Olive oil, lemon juice. Like, there's no additional seasonings in here. It has plenty of salinity. As suspected, it does not need any more salt whatsoever. Look how creamy this is. Look how creamy this whole thing is. It's fatty, it's rich. This is going to be amazing. It's so intense. Take another taste of that. The sweetness, the fruitiness of the pepper, the funkiness and the saltiness of the cheese. I mean, you're getting everything. This is a dip that is good with anything and everything. Again, some people, they like it chunkier. I wanted to go for something really, really smooth because I'm not eating this with bread today. I'm eating this over meatballs. And so for the meatballs, I wanted to have like that red pepper cream sauce. I love doing that pairing. When I did my last time I was doing the spätzle, I did like a red pepper cream sauce as well. And that was really delicious. And so this one we didn't even have to cook. That was so easy. Everybody, please make this. Type an exclamation mark menu. It's called Tyrokafteri. Tyrokafteri. I forgot what it's called. But just blended up feta, blended up red peppers. It's really, really delicious. It's so smooth. It's so simple to do. Okay? Everybody should be doing this. I want to hear a yes, chef, right now. So I'm going to take this. This is totally done. We're going to take this and pop it into the fridge. Ugh, I'm so white. Pop it in the fridge. Okay? Really, really yummy. And we're just going to keep it cool because it's a dairy product. It's feta. You know, it's yogurt. We don't want it to sit out at room temperature or anything. I'm going to make sure that my blended components are soaking in water. And then I'm going to take a second and clean up. Ooh. Excellent. Excellent. I am very, very pleased with how that came out. That's not like the restaurant versions that I've had it before. Again, this is a lot smoother, but that was my exact intention today. I wanted something smooth. I wanted something creamy because it's a sauce for the meatballs and not like a scoop for the bread today, is what I'm using this as. Okay, everybody, little recap session. We've gotten two things done. We've salted the tomatoes and cucumbers. I've showed you how and why to do that for the salad, for the Greek salad that we're doing. We put some of the feta into the freezer that we'll be shredding over the top. Okay, and we made the, red pepper feta dip. We blended up red peppers, chilies, feta cheese, yogurt, olive oil, lemon juice, and it's really, really tasty. It has everything. It has the sweetness, it has the saltiness, it has the spiciness, it has the acidity. I mean, it is everything that you could possibly want. And some of the bitterness too from the char. That is an everything sauce. Excellent. Okay, I'm putting some things away, putting them into my dishwasher, because again, I'm cooking at home, so you have to clean as you go. Make sure that your dishwasher, if you have one, is empty before you start cooking. It's empty before you start cooking, and then it's going to be so easy. Okay? Just getting rid of some stuff, putting some stuff behind me, putting it all behind me, putting it all in my past. Okay? And now we can begin doing the mix for the meatballs. And also, by the way, everybody, once again, please, if you can, type an exclamation mark Patreon in the chat. It'd be really, really sweet. It'd be very appreciated. I'm looking for any and all support on the cooking streams. I could use any of the help to help subsidize the cost of the groceries for these things. I clean as I go in a restaurant setting as well. You end up in a huge mess. Oh, absolutely. Yes, but especially in a home setting where you don't have like prep cooks, you don't have dishwashers, you have to do everything yourself. Also, hello to Val. Hello, hello. And Trash Can Cat Mom, I mean, I do different things dishwashing. I don't like dishwashing a bunch of different things, but sometimes it's just fun. I don't like hand washing that much. Sometimes I'm in the mood for it. Sometimes washing your dishes can be really relaxing. And again, guys, even though we're keeping things really, really simple, even though we're doing home food, we're giving it a lot of technique. We're giving it a lot of love. We're not cutting corners. We're not making one pot garbage. Okay? We're giving everything the amount of love that I feel like is important to give it. So let's begin the meatballs. Everybody, if you have ever seen these streams, you will know something. You will know how opinionated I am on meatballs and what goes into a meatball. And the difference between a meatball and a burger. Everybody, burgers don't have eggs, They don't have bread, they don't have breadcrumbs, they don't have milk. If you're making a burger, it is pure meat and seasonings. If you're making a meatball, you need the bread, you need the egg. Some people, especially with the keto trend, okay, especially with this obsession with minimizing carbs, we're like, oh, this is an all-meat meatloaf. Carbs are bad and filler. That is not true. The bread inside of a meatball is essential to the taste and the texture and the moisture of it. The bread in the meatball is what makes it nice and soft, because you don't want it to be like a chewy hockey puck. You don't want it to be like a chewy hockey puck that you're just gnawing on. You want it to be tender all the way through. You want your meatloaves and your meatballs to be tender. Okay, so the bread does a very nice job of that. And then also the bread, it stops too much fat, too many of the juices from leaking out. It kind of ends up soaking it up. So two completely different schools of thought. Meatballs have to have eggs and bread or any kind of starch component. I'm going to show you exactly what we are doing here. So, also welcome on in, your ears perked up, hello, hello. This is a very nice way of getting rid of some stale bread. You don't have to use stale bread for this, but stale bread lends itself well to soaking things up. I have some of this really, really stale Italian bread behind me. Okay? Look at this thing. It's stale. It's as hard as a rock. Okay? And so, this is what I'll be using. Again, you can just use a fresh slice of bread. You don't have to use something like this. I'm going to see if I can take some of the crust off because the crust doesn't actually soak in that well. Let's see if we can do that. But no, look how dry, look how stale this bread is. Yeah, that's just not going to be happening. Okay, let's take it. Let's just tear it up into small chunks, small pieces. You can even use something like a cheese grater for this. Actually, I think I might just do that. I think I'm going to use a cheese grater for the stale bread. Again, you can use breadcrumbs. You can use any kind of starch that you have at home. Okay? The bread is what's going to contribute to the texture of these meatballs. I'm going to just use this. I don't really know which setting would be good. Right? I'm not like entirely sure. Maybe this one. Right? I'm just trying to get a breadcrumb-like texture out of all of this. It's stale, so thus it lends itself quite well to, you know, being ground up. Actually, maybe just this side. No, that's just gonna clog. That's not gonna really, I don't know. What's the best setting for this? I've never really actually, like my grandma growing up did this, but I've never really used a grater to make like breadcrumbs. You would just put in a food processor or something. Let's do the big ones and not overthink it. And again, I want to keep some of the crust because the crust itself doesn't actually soak in too well, in my experience. It kind of gets left up in like big chunks. Stale bread. Okay, we're trying our best. We're doing our best with what we have. I'm not getting that many breadcrumbs out of this, I know. This is the first time for this. I have a feeling that is just too small, isn't it? It's not really doing anything. Is finely chopping done? Yeah, finely chopping the bread will be kind of like a headache. Okay, look, this is getting crumbs everywhere. We're gonna stop. This is not working out. This isn't working out. We tried, it's not working out. Also, hello to Goody Wings, it's lovely to have you. Ooh, I just inhaled some. So we're going to just crumble this up the best we can. Small pieces. What we're going to do is we're going to soak this with milk and egg. The reason we're going to be soaking this with milk and egg is because once we get basically a paste, I'm sorry, I just inhaled some of it. Once we get this soaked with milk and egg, it's going to really, really evenly distribute through the meatballs, okay? The pre-soaking doesn't really matter if you're working with breadcrumbs, but if you're working with like chunks of bread like I am, small pieces is essential. You want to basically get a bread paste out of all of this. Okay, so just crumble it up, get it in there. Again, I'm not really measuring the amount of bread I'm using here. You can probably use like one slice for every pound of meat that you have. I don't know. I'm not measuring. I'm cooking at home. These are not so exact that, you know, we're not working in a restaurant prep setting. We don't have to use exact measurements every single time. I'm just roughly going, okay, this is Italian bread. It's very airy. It's not very dense. I'm going to be using like this big hunk of it because that's basically going to be like one slice of bread once it's ground up like this. Okay, and we might even like stop halfway. I'm not measuring. The whole idea is I want to help you all build intuition. I want to help you all build a feeling of this. It's just going to be a very approximate ratio. The more bread that you add, this is all you have to know. The more bread you add, the softer and mushier it's going to be. The less bread you add, the more chewy and springy it's going to be. It's all about your intentions. Guys, there is no such thing as the right or wrong way to do this. If you want a soft, super tender meatball, add more bread. If you want a really, really chewy one, add less. Okay? It is entirely and completely up to you. Because food, there's no such thing as a good or bad dish. There's no such thing as a good or bad intention. There's only good or bad execution relative to your intentions. Also, like, kind of my favorite kind of bread, probably like, because I grew up with it, like Russian, like black bread. Eastern European, like Russian black bread stuff is like really, really amazing. Also, why is my heater is going? Okay. We're tearing this up. I don't think I need that much more bread. Again, we're only doing like a pound of meat. It's super warm in my kitchen again. I need to turn off the heater. So could you all excuse me for a second? I'll be right back, I promise. Yummy. You know, that heater is outputting. What is going on with you? Let's turn off my heater. That stuff has to chill out for a second. Okay? I'm back. Okay, hi. I missed you all so much. Taza, I left for 1 second. I left for half a second. Okay, everybody, once again, you have to have bread in your meatballs if you want nice, tender, soft, juicy meatballs. This is essential. So I took some of this stale bread I had. Best way to use up stale bread. I crumbled it up, okay? And now we're gonna add in a glug of milk. Oh, Daramgar, how much volumetrically is that? Is that 35 grams of milk? Is that 200 cups? No, it's a glug of milk. We're glugging it in. That, and then maybe that. And that should be enough. That should be enough. We want it to basically soak into the bread so that we have this paste that can then evenly distribute. You don't have to use milk. You can use water, you can use broth, you can use any kind of liquid. I like the whole milk because it adds an extra little bit of fat into the whole thing. It makes the whole thing a little bit richer. So we're glugging in some milk. We're gonna add one more glug, okay? And then we're gonna crack an egg in here. I'm doing 1 egg for 1 pound of meat. And the egg is going to help, once again, hydrate the bread that we have here, help turn it into a paste, and the egg is going to help bind everything together. Crack it in, get that bad boy inside. Beautiful. All right, and then let's take a glove, and let's go at it. Let's take a glove, let's make a little paste out of all this stuff. And so everybody, I wanna emphasize something. I never add the meat first when I'm making meatballs. I add the meat in last. The reason for this, if you think about it, it's the same idea with mashed potatoes. If you want to evenly season a meatball, and you put in the meat and you mix it up and then you add salt, you're going to get very weird pockets of salt. It's very nice to mix up all of your ingredients in here first, and then add it to the meatball after it's mixed up. So here's what we're gonna do. We're just going to use our hands. We're gonna break up the egg using the hands. We don't have to beat it separately or anything, okay? We're just going to take the bread and we're gonna squish it a whole bunch. We're going to squish it. We're going to make sure it's fully covered. We're basically breaking up and beating the egg in this process. Okay, you can use a spoon. You don't have to use a hand. I like using my hands. I like getting my hands in there. Okay. Again, I think this is essential for any meatball that you could be possibly doing at home. Essential. And we're going to go through this. We need this bread to soak. We need this bread to get fully soft. We need to turn this into a paste because we don't want chunks of bread in the meatball. We want all of this bread to evenly distribute throughout everything, okay? Is that clear? This is where you would say, yes, chef. So get it in there, mix up, break up that egg, get it all done. So it's just 1 egg. We're doing 1 hunk of Italian bread and a glug of milk. And I'm not measuring. We're cooking at home, we're making meatballs. Okay. And we're keeping it going and we're breaking it up. And just keep it going for a little bit. You could have whisked up the egg. You could have just used breadcrumbs instead. Using chunks of bread, like the only consequence there is, you know, breaking it up is a little bit of a hassle always. And again, I know this doesn't look too tasty at the moment. And also, I haven't mentioned this, you want to use a bowl that's slightly too big. Use a bowl that's slightly too big. It's going to accommodate all of the ingredients on the inside. If you have a bowl that is perfectly fit for the amount of ground beef, everything is going to spill out once you get your hands inside. Okay? So, I'm just breaking up the really, really big pieces of like the crust and stuff. But now, it should basically be done. Okay. Taking my glove off. I'm just going to set this behind me and I'm going to let it soak. Also, thank you so much for the 43 bits. Thank you, thank you. I'm taking this and I'm setting this behind me. Excellent. Okay, everybody, little recap session. We've completely finished the feta red pepper dip. We blended it all up. It's super tasty. We have the ingredients for the salad salting, and we have the bread soaking, right? Everything is moving fast now. We're getting there. We're getting exactly where we need to be. So here's the next step. Here's the next step. Also, I think I don't want to over freeze my feta, so I'm just gonna pull it out of the freezer and then put it back in later. I don't want to over freeze. I don't want it to be like rock solid. Here's the next step. We have to fry the onions that we're using for this. Onions are really, really nice. They add a really nice sweetness to meatballs. I love having onions in a meatball, but I hate seeing people add raw onions to a meatball. You're adding in a lot of excess moisture, you're throwing off your ratios, and you're not getting the full potential of all of its sweetness. So we're gonna take a bunch of our onions, we're gonna fry it in olive oil, we'll be able to add some more fat and we'll be able to caramelize it, get rid of excess liquid, okay? And just add a bunch of that really, really delicious concentrated flavor. So, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna set my stove on to a medium heat. Just gonna heat up a stainless steel pan nice and slowly. We'll be cooking these onions up in olive oil, okay? So, currently on the pan, on the stove, I have, once again, just a stainless steel pan going. We're gonna add some olive oil a little bit later. We'll just medium-low heat just to evenly heat up the whole thing. Okay, and let's begin prepping an onion. I'm thinking, do I just wanna use, let's use a Spanish onion. Okay, so here's what we do for the onion. You have a head, you have a root. We keep the root intact. We cut the head off. So that's one onion decapitated, take its head off, okay? Then we take it, we put it head side down, and we cut it in half. And yes, you can use any onion. You just have to keep in mind, some onions are sweeter than others, but when they cook down, they get kind of the same. I don't like using red onions to cook with always, because the red onion juice kind of burns. Okay, and then we're going to peel this bad boy up, and we're keeping the root intact. We're intentionally keeping the root intact so we can easily hold the whole thing together when we mince it up. So we're peeling up this onion. We're getting it done. We're making it happen. I could have actually chopped off a little bit more because that end is like a little bit dried off still. It's a little bit too papery. So off it goes. Okay, so here's what we gotta do for the onion. We're going to make a bunch of parallel incisions. It's going to cook down. It's gonna get really nice and soft, but we wanna have finely chopped onions. And the reason we want finely chopped onions and not coarsely chopped onions, okay, is because we want the onions to melt. We don't want chunks of onion. We don't want to bite into chunks of onion when we're eating our meatballs today. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go here and we're gonna make a bunch of parallel incisions down the length of the onion, okay? You were pretty smart, Jay. That was a really good conclusion you came to. Does anybody have any questions? I appreciate Dr. Slobo always coming in and getting the knowledge. I'm here to help you learn how to cook, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We fan out the onion. We keep the root intact to hold it all together. And then nice, thin slices of onion all the way down. I want it thin, okay? I want it thin so that it melts into the meatball for today. I don't want massive chunks of onion to bite into and you're like, wait a second, this is a meatball, not an onion ball. What's going on here? The onions are gonna add such a lovely sweetness to the whole thing, okay? So just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Don't stop till I tell you to stop, all right? And then once your cutting board gets a little bit too crowded, as always, we just clean up that knife and we scoop it all up and we put it onto a transfer plate. We're using the bench scraper, we're keeping organized, we're making sure the cutting board doesn't get too crowded. Now, just to see the temperature of the pan, we're gonna do a big glug of olive oil, plenty of olive oil. I have a lean beef, so we need the extra fat of the olive oil to really, really help it out for today. And we wanna fry the onions, we're gonna fry them. We're not just gonna steam them. We're not just going to cook them. We're not just gonna sweat them. I mean, we're going to fry those onions in some fat, okay? So keep it going, keep it going. And again, olive oil because we're making Greek food. You can't have Greek food without the olive oil. The olive oil is gonna be really nice and tasty, okay? That's why we're not using a neutral oil because all of that fat is going to end up finding its way into the meatball. So guess what? We have this finely minced up onion and we take the whole thing and we put it onto the plate. And now let me think, do I want to use all of that onion? That's half an onion that I got chopped up. It's half a big onion. You know what? I'm going to save a quarter of this onion. I'm going to just use another quarter. I feel like that whole onion would be a lot for 1 pound of meat. Again, it's not an onion ball. It's a meatball. The onion is there to flavor the meat. Almost done. Going through it all. We're slicing, we're not chopping, we're not crushing the cells, we're using a nice sharp knife. We're going all the way through. Okay, excellent. And we're gonna scoop it all up, put it onto my transfer plate. And we're gonna fry some meatballs. We're gonna fry some onions, excuse me. The meatballs I will be doing in an oven though. I'll be doing those in an oven because I really, really like baking them all off at once. I find it to be like a bit of a hassle to try and pan fry a lot of meatballs. Okay, so we chopped up all this onion. This was 3/4 of a large onion. I'm going to take the rest of this, I'm gonna put this into the fridge because I'm gonna just use this for another thing another time. Okay, let's get that going. So the olive oil is nice and hot. We don't want it to be like smoking hot or anything, it's just nice and shimmering. Let's head to the stove and let's get it in there. Nice hot oil, and I mean oil. I don't mean just a dry non-stick pan. You can use a non-stick pan if you really want, but it needs to be full of oil. So we're gonna take our onion and we're putting it in 3/4 of a chopped up onion. You can use any kind of allium you want. You can even use shallots. You can use shallots, you can use leeks, use what you got. I had a Spanish onion, so I'm gonna use a Spanish onion. Okay, sometimes, you know, it's called a yellow onion, you can use a sweet onion, you can use a red onion, you can do whatever you want here. So the onions are going. I'm gonna get a coaster set up now. Okay, and we're gonna salt that bad boy. We are gonna salt that thing. Where's my salt? I lost it for a sec. We're gonna salt it and then we're gonna toss it around. Again, it's covered in that olive oil. It's frying in that olive oil. Salt going in. And we're gonna take it and we're gonna just shake it up. Just to make sure that it's all evenly distributed. We're tossing. Beautiful. And we're gonna fry up those onions. I mean fry it. Everybody, is that clear? We're not sweating anything. We're not boiling the onions. We're going to fry it until it's properly and thoroughly fried. We want to get that color, we want to get that nuttiness, we want to get that caramelized flavor. We want to evaporate the excess liquid. Okay? I'm only seeing 2 people say, yes, chef. Everybody, wake up. Catch up, catch up, catch up. Also, hello to Scribble and hello to Chamberlain. Hi, it's good to have all of you. So again, the onions are frying. This is what's going to give us a really nice sweet quality to the meatball. Again, we're building flavor. It's not just about the meat, it's about all the things that will go on to flavor the meat. We currently have the bread for the meatballs. They'll make it nice and tender, sitting with some egg and some milk. And how do we know when we're done frying? I'm gonna show you the color. Lurkana, we're just really, really looking for a nice deep brown. Okay, nice golden brown or so. Also, thank you for stopping by, Moonhum. It was lovely to have you. Also, hello to Kratorga. Hi, hi. We're frying it up, okay? And the pan's gonna cool down a little bit as the onions release their liquid, and then it's going to evaporate, and then it's going to start frying and caramelizing. Okay. We don't really need to fry the garlic for the meatballs as much. We're just gonna put that directly into the egg mixture. One of my favorite Indian dishes to eat or cook? Oh, I love anything with like string beans or potatoes in it, Trash Can Cat Mom. Those are always my favorite. Or like lentils. Oh, I love lentils to death. Lentils are one of my favorite things to eat. And I love just like how much Indian cooking uses lentils. I just love dal, you know. I love like aloo gobi. That's one of my favorites as well. Okay, sweet. So that's going really, really nicely. We want to get some garlic into the meatballs, once again, purely for aroma and taste. I don't really have to explain to you the function of garlic. It's just because garlic is tasty. Let's not overthink it. So, I have a fresh head of garlic here. I like peeling my garlic over a bowl at first because the garlic skins tends to stick to the cutting board. And I want garlic flavor. Guys, I don't want a bland meatball. Chat, do we make bland meatballs on the stream? Do we make bland meatballs in this household? Because I don't think we do. But I just need some validation. No, chef, perfect. We don't make bland meatballs here. Not in the slightest. So, 3 garlic cloves. And we're going to take a handy dandy little bench scraper. And we're going to take it and we're going to smash it down. Why do we use a bench scraper? Well, because we want to separate the clove from the skin. By smashing it, it helps us to pluck off the skin. Why do we use a bench scraper and not a knife? Because you do this and you risk cutting yourself. And I can be very aggressive with this shitty piece of metal and not my nice knife. The knife I'm actually going to rinse off once again because it is carbon steel. She's a little bit fickle. She's a little bit temperamental. Okay? I want to make sure it never gets too wet or too acidic or too dirty. Okay, so we're going to take a bench scraper and we're going to take this garlic clove. We're using 3 garlic cloves. And we're going to smash it down. And we're going to take the other bad boys. We're going to take them and we're going to smash them down just like that. Excellent. And we're going to take it and we're going to pluck it off. Right, the skin should come out fairly easily now that we've smashed it. We've separated the layer between the skin and the clove itself. Excellent, just like so. And take it all and pluck it off. Take it all and pluck it off. Come on, buddy. You got this. I know you got this in you. Yeah, there you go. Nice fresh garlic. Getting it done. Also, my onions are going right now. I don't want them to scorch on the bottom. You don't want to leave them unattended for too long. Make sure you're doing on like a low-medium heat. We're just going to mix this up. Really, really scrape it up as well. Make sure you're getting the ones from the bottom to the top. And make sure it's never burning. You need enough oil to properly cover and fry up these onions, okay? Low heat and stir it often. We're not looking for scorched onions. We don't want that bitterness. All right, and let's get that last one peeled up. Come on, buddy. You got this. Almost done. Okay, sweet. That's all the garlic skin, excuse me. And I'm just going to use my paring knife. I'm just going to clean up the dried off parts of the bottoms. And I'm going to be using, once again, my garlic press because I hate chopping garlic on a cutting board. It's one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. Can't get enough of it. All the while, again, we're babying these onions. We're babying the onions. We're not leaving them alone for too long. Okay? Got to watch it. Got to make sure it doesn't burn. Got to make sure it doesn't scorch. We want just a very, very nicely fried onion. I'm going to show you what my final optimal texture of onion is even going to look like. So, into my big bowl. Once again, this is where all of my egg, my breadcrumbs, my milk is being stored. We can just use my garlic press right in there and get it done. Get the job done. Job done. Well, actually, I can't say that yet. Garlic. And it's going inside. We're taking this bad boy. We're going inside. And we're going to do exactly what a garlic press says. Guess what? We're going to press it. We take it and we shove it in. And then we press it. Beautiful. Next one. We take it. We put it in. And we press it. Job done is not just a Hearthstone reference, Lurkana. But I guess you can technically say that. Technically, it's a Hearthstone reference. That's like saying like a voice line from Mario and saying, is that a Smash Bros reference? You know? That's what just happened. That's what the emotion that I just felt. Okay, garlic all smashed up. Right? It's done its job. Everybody say thank you to the garlic press. We have no more use for it today. I'm going to make sure that I'm stirring up my onions again. We don't want them to burn. We don't want our onions to blacken on the bottom. We just want to keep them frying gently in all that olive oil. Just stir it up, mix it around, and we're keeping it going. We're evaporating all the excess liquid. We're getting it nice and sweet. Okay, so that's the 3 cloves of garlic. And then I know this doesn't look too appealing, but this is all based on WoW. Lurkana! It's not just WoW, it's Warcraft. I've never played Warcraft in my life. I don't know why I'm being such an elitist defender of it at the moment. I'm actually being annoying. It's Warcraft, not just World of Warcraft. So, all the garlic is inside. That's the breadcrumbs, or the stale bread, the milk, the egg. I'm going to set that aside behind me. We're essentially making the seasoning paste for the rest of the meatballs. We're going to combine it first before we add in the meat. Okay. Here's the next essential component that we'll have coming up in just a second. First, we're going to look at the onions and we're going to decide, do we want these cooked any further? Right? The oil is starting to separate really, really nicely. They're getting nice and golden brown. They smell nice and sweet. Okay? I don't want to push these too much longer. We're just going to do a little bit of time. On these onions, we'll make the meatball mix and we'll do a little recap session. Okay? Onions are going, guys, they're getting nice and sweet. We're barely using the stove today. In the meantime, I'm actually going to be preheating my oven. I'm going to preheat this bad boy to 450. Okay, we want a nice hot oven for today's meatballs. I'm going to talk to you exactly why I'm using an oven. And I'm not using a frying pan for them or any other method. We'll talk about the differences. 450, that's my ideal temperature. We'll do that. Excellent. And my onions, we'll give them another second or so. And we'll get started with the herbs as well. Okay, so everybody, for Keftedes, right, I think that's how you say it. For these Greek meatballs, it's all about the herbs. The herbs are an essential component for something like this. So traditionally, you would use some oregano and you would use some mint and you would use some parsley. I did not have any fresh looking mint in my store today. So instead, I'm gonna be using this dill. Here's what I did. Everybody, I bought this dill today. I took it and I soaked it in water. Fresh herbs like dill, like parsley, like cilantro, like mint, they're typically covered with salt or, not salt, with sand or dirt. So you really want to make sure that you're thoroughly soaking it. Okay, we soak it, and then I put it in my salad spinner. Everybody needs to have a salad spinner at home. I don't care who you are, you need a salad spinner. So I'm using dill because, hey, I want dill in this. Is it traditional? No, traditionally you would use mint in this. But we don't force traditions. I would rather have really fresh, good quality dill, taste the texture of this, I want to have the really good quality dill, really fresh taste, really fresh texture, instead of having mediocre mint for the sake of authenticity. Okay? So we're just taking concepts. We're getting inspired from Greek food. We're getting inspired by Greek cuisine, but we're not letting it pigeonhole us into saying, oh, you have to only use mint for something like this. Use the best fresh herbs that you have available to you. Okay? Are they all going to taste the same? Absolutely not. Are they interchangeable? No. They just give you something different. Okay, this is dill. I love dill. People don't cook with enough dill. Growing up Russian, we cooked with dill all the time. The onions have finished cooking. I'm taking them off the heat, and I'm just going to let that cool off until I'm ready to use it. I want to cool it off, so I'm just not putting it hot into my breadcrumb and egg mixture. Okay, we just want to cool it off so it's not scorching hot. But just give it a second, it'll do its thing. Okay, so for the dill, all we're going to need to do is we're going to need to assemble a nice little stack of it all. And I want to get rid of the stems. I'm not looking for like that fibrous quality of the stems. So we're just taking the fronds. Guys, you don't cook with enough dill. Everybody, I want you to start experimenting with dill. I want you to go to your local store, especially if there's like an Eastern European supermarket around you. Well, if you live in the EU, it's a little bit easier to come by dill. Dill is not very common in a lot of the United States. It's very common in my area because I live in a Russian neighborhood in Brooklyn. And so, Russian people, they eat dill everywhere. Like growing up, one of my favorite things to do, guys, if you ever just want to start understanding how to use dill, my favorite thing, growing up Russian, I love having raw garlic and dill and a bunch of butter served with boiled potatoes. Raw garlic dill, it was aromatic, it was super delicious. And I have watched plenty of binging with Babish, you know. I've watched a lot of Babish. I've been binging my Babishes for a long time. Okay. I have a lot of very strong things to say that I will not say because I'm professional. Okay, and we keep it going. We keep it going. We're just taking the fronds off the stems. It's okay if some stems find a place into the meatball. It's okay. I just don't want that texture. I don't want that crunch. All of this is for the sake of flavoring the meatball. We're not going to blend this. You can blend this if you would like. I just find that by blending it, we over-oxidize the herbs. We crush it down too much, and we end up losing some of the taste. If you wanted to blend this, I would recommend blanching it first to stabilize it. It's something that you can do with fresh herbs really nicely. And then blending it down. Blanch it, ice water, and then blend it. But we're just going to mince this. Okay, and again, I'm just stirring my onions because it's still like on a hot pan, so I don't want it to continue frying these onions up. Okay. Everybody following along so far? Does everybody understand? Everybody understand what we're up to here? We're almost done. Again, we don't have to go too crazy with this process. We're just getting a bunch of dill. These meatballs are all about the herbs. It's all about the aroma. It's all about having something really nice and fresh and delicious. Okay? It's going to have the garlic, it's going to have the parsley, it's going to have some oregano in it as well. You really, truly can't go wrong with something like this. Da, da, da. Okay. And we'll do a recap session once we're done with the mix for the meatballs. Okay, that should be enough dill for now. That's perfect. Everybody, once again, not traditional in this, but I really, really like doing it because, you know, it's just going to be a really nice herbaceous quality. I didn't just want parsley, which can get kind of one note. right? Having a mixture of herbs, it can be so beautiful. But yes, you can use this in salads, you can use this in dressings. Also, I'm glad that I could help Keftedes. I don't know how to say your tag. Please tell me how I should pronounce it. So, here's what we're gonna do. Anytime we handle fresh herbs, you're gonna take it, you're gonna bundle up in your hands, you're not gonna crush it, you're just gonna bundle it up, and we're looking for a really fine mince. You're going to use your front knuckles to guide it, we're holding it down, we're mincing this, we're slicing it, we're not chopping it, we're not cleaving this like an axe. Baby bird style, that's right. Hey, everybody knows now. We're slicing this really, really thin. Because again, I want the dill to evenly distribute and flavor the meatball. I don't want to bite into a big frond of it. That's not my goal, that's not my intention. So all of this going in. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right, especially because I haven't seen it here before. How'd you find the stream, by the way? Okay, we give it a 90-degree rotation, and we're going to mince this up again. Have you been here before? I do feel like it's my first time seeing you here. So again, we're just going to keep mincing this, okay? I want this to evenly distribute all over the meatball. And we're going to do one more pass through. I know this seems excessive, but as long as the knife is sharp and we're not chopping it, I don't want to see you do this. I want you to resist the urge to do that. That's how you crush and destroy your herbs. I'm just looking for continuous mincing and slicing. We're not chopping, okay? It's essential. It's really, really important to me that you do that. You don't want to hurt my feelings. Isn't that right? You don't want to do that? Slice it up. There you go. Beautifully minced up dill. Look at it go. And also don't use dry dill. People sell dry dill. It's garbage. It doesn't taste like anything at all. Dry dill is actually completely useless. Very few herbs deserve to be dried. Oregano might be one of them. But nobody, especially not my precious dill, deserves the fate of it. My stream is kind of like for French viewers? Okay, I see. We have a couple of French people here. But how'd you find me? Like, have you followed me like on Twitter? I'm just like curious. Okay, so the dill. We're going to go ahead and put that inside of a little mixture that we're building now. This is the breadcrumbs, or rather the stale bread, the egg, the milk, okay, the garlic. And the next step is going to be the addition of the parsley. This meatball is all about the herbs, my friends. It's all about that aroma. Okay. Also, hello to Astro Helix. Welcome on in. Hello, hello. So again, the onions, we're just cooling them off for now for a little bit. The dill, I'm actually going to put into my fridge to keep it nice and fresh. Right? So we're not wasting, because the longer it sits out at room temp, it doesn't get so good after a while. Parsley, a big bunch of parsley. Okay, we're not skimping on the parsley for this. Again, I love having the herbs in a meatball like this. Some of the herbs are going to char, some of them are going to get bitter, but I promise you they get so delicious. That's why I love having so much of it. It's not just garnish. It makes this really wonderful, like vegetal, aromatic, herbaceous quality. So, parsley. This is what I would consider pretty important to take off the stems. The dill, maybe not so much, but the parsley, I hate the parsley stems. So again, it was washed. Parsley is full of sand. It's full of dirt. You want to make sure it's soaked. You want to make sure you're putting it in a salad spinner. So it's not wet. You don't want it sopping wet. And we're just taking all the leaves off the little stems. Okay, off they all go. Off it all goes. Excellent. We just keep it going. We keep it going. We keep it moving. Guys, are you excited for this dinner today? And again, if anybody has any questions, I am here to help you learn how to cook. We're just going to keep processing. We're going to keep this going. Ooh, next time, I think I want to do like a jollof rice on stream. I feel like that is one dish I've never made before, and I really know almost nothing about African cuisine. And something I'd really like to do. Okay. My oven is officially preheated as well, which is really nice. And again, I want to emphasize, we don't add our meat in until absolutely last. Okay? The meat is the last addition into the mix. And the reason for this is because if you add the meat and then you add your other seasonings, it'll be really difficult to distribute them evenly. It's very nice to have all these other things and then mix it into the meat last because the meat is so viscous, right? It's so thick. So, big bunch of parsley, same exact idea. Take it in your hand. Yes, we are, Kaze. Yes, we are. Take it in your hand and stuff it on in. This meatball is going to be full of flavor. This is how you make really delicious meatballs at home. It's so simple. We're just using beautiful fresh produce. Okay? Making a big batch of meatballs. And again, we preheated the oven at 450, want a nice high temperature, and we'll go into why we're doing this in an oven and not pan frying it. Okay, and the logistics of it. Come on, buddy. Come on, back in my hand. It's falling out a little bit. Just ball it up. You gotta ball it up. There you go. Balling. Now, if you will, take it, press it down, and again, fine slice. Slice it, slice it, slice it, slice it. Slice it all the way through. Don't worry about those leaves that are coming apart. Just take it, just roll it up, and we're slicing up all of this parsley. Yeah, that mama bird's gonna be impressed. Slice it up, because again, we don't want big leaves. If you have big leaves, they're going to come out and they're going to burn, and you're going to just get them on the edge of your meatball, and it'll be really, really unpleasant. You want to make sure it's really thinly and finely sliced so it can incorporate and flavor the whole damn thing. Okay, take some of these leaves, ball it up in my hand, and slice it up. Okay, take the whole thing, give it a little rotation, just like so, and slice, 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 all the way through. And we're gonna do this a couple more passes. All right? We got some really delicious meatballs coming up ahead of us. I'm really, really excited for these. I see we still have some like big leaves, right? You see these guys? These are the ones we especially want to make sure, that these get sliced up. We want to make sure that these guys are nice and thin all the way through. We don't want any big leaves left. That's how they burn, that's how they scorch. You're not going to get the texture, you're not going to get the flavor that you want. You want to make sure it's evenly incorporated throughout everything. So we're going to keep going until that product is achieved, until that end goal is reached. This isn't a garnish. You don't want the rustic look or anything. You need finely sliced herbs for something like this. That's a little bit better. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? One more pass through. We're being patient. And we're not crushing it. We're not doing the rock chop or anything. We're being patient. Okay? Okay. What did Ivy Soy do to deserve that? Be cringe. Because grass starters. My hands look so soft. Guess what? They are really soft. Yeah, thank you, Resurgence Guild. Okay, we're gonna take all this parsley that we've now minced up and put into the mix. So, everybody, one last addition in here. You ready for this? Remember the fried onions. We let them cool off a little bit. Okay, they're not cold completely, but we just let them cool off. We just wanted to make sure it wasn't burning hot because we had like egg in here. We didn't want to like cook the egg or anything. We're getting all of the fried onions. We're getting all of the olive oil on the inside as well. We're getting all of it scraped up and all of it into the mix. Everybody, guess what? That is everything that we need for the meatball except for the meat. Final step actually is going to be some oregano. We're going to do a couple of big pinches of oregano now too. So I have some dried oregano. You can use fresh oregano if you have any. Dried oregano is actually perfectly acceptable. We're going to do a couple of big pinches of that. So guys, look at the seasoning, look at the flavors, look at all of the different herbs that we have going on. Do you understand how serious I am about my meatballs? I'm doing 2 big pinches of the oregano. And now, hit this with a bunch of salt. Here's what you can do. You can cook off a little bit of the meatball once it's actually mixed up all together. You can cook off a little bit to test the seasoning. I've made meatballs enough times that I know how many like pinches of salt I need for a pound of beef. But what you can do is you can fry off a test piece. So I like doing that and a little bit more. That should be perfect. Again, I built up that intuition over time. For you to build up that intuition over time as well, cook off a little piece or just try a little bit of raw meat. Okay? I know I shouldn't be encouraging you to do that. Just try it, taste it for seasoning. I know that that won't be too much salt because I've done this dozens and hundreds. I made meatballs hundreds of times. And now we want a lot of black pepper. Get that black pepper inside. Get it all in there. Keep it going. Don't stop till I tell you to stop. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. This is the seasoning, this is the flavor. We want a lot of black pepper, we want to feel it, we want to taste it. That should be enough. How many rotations is that? How many teaspoons? I do not know. Okay, freshly ground black pepper. We never use pre-ground black pepper. We never use pre-ground spices here. And now we're going to take a glove, okay? And we're going to mix this up. This is the seasoning paste. If this part is mixed up evenly, It's going to make sure that all the seasoning is evenly distributed. That's why we do this step first. We do this step first. We make the seasoning paste, and then we basically flavor the meat with it. The bread there is for the texture. The egg there is to bind it all together. The salt for the saltiness, the fried onions for the sweetness, and the olive oil that the onions fried in for the fattiness. The dill, the parsley for the herbaceousness. Look how green this mixture is. And of course, plenty of oregano, plenty of black pepper, plenty of salt. This is going to be a delicious meatball. Guys, do I mess around when it comes to meatballs? Do we mess around? So again, we do this step first. We do all of the mixing, we do all the smushing, because this way, that's how we know the salt will evenly get incorporated. That's right, no chef indeed. We're making this super, super concentrated seasoning paste, the breading there. And again, you can't have a meatball without the bread component. You can use anything you want. You can use breadcrumbs, Italian, panko, any kind of stale bread that you have. I love using bread for this because that's how you get the ideal texture of meatball. So we're just going in. You see these big things of bread still? We're just going to take it in our fingers and we're going to break it up. We're going to break it up. We're going to break it up just like my parents. We're going to break it up. Okay? They don't need to be together. They don't have a good household together. This is for the best. All right? Don't worry about the kids. They'll be better off this way. I promise. So, we're going to take it. It's not trauma at all. I'm actually encouraging. I'm a big advocate of divorce. I love divorce. It's a way for people to actually get split up instead of being held to things they shouldn't be in. Okay? That's not me telling you that you should get divorced, but I'm saying I love that it exists. It's not trauma at all. Okay. We're mushing it up. We're smashing it up. Right? We're breaking it up, but still, they're still going to be together at the end. Right? I've lost my divorce metaphor at some point down the road of going through this process. Smush it all up. Pa 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 pa. Pa 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 pa. Okay, again, we don't want any big pieces of bread. We don't want any big pieces of onion in this. Okay, and now it's time to do the addition of the meat. Finally, everybody, the prince has arrived. The king has arrived. The meat for the meatball. We got a pound of ground beef. You can use any kind of ground meat that you want except ground chicken and ground turkey. I'm going to tell you something right now. Everybody, I need you all to tune in. I need you all to get your ears ready to go. Are you listening? Are you listening? Yes, chef, listening? Okay, let me tell you something right now. Ground chicken and ground turkey suck. I do not like them. I do not like the texture. I'd rather do a million more wonderful things with the ground chicken and ground turkey. I hate ground chicken and I hate ground turkey. You can use pork, you can use lamb, you can use veal, you can use anything. If you want to use chicken and turkey, please make something else. I find that the texture of ground chicken and turkey is so unpleasant. It sucks. Even really, really good turkey meatballs that have like good flavor, the texture of it will always not be so good. It will never be what you're thinking of. I do not like ground poultry. I do not want it. I do not think about it. Unless it's like a duck sausage. Maybe duck would be okay because duck has like a really meaty texture compared to those. So my friends, we're just taking it, we're balling it up, and we're incorporating everything. We're smushing it all in together. All right, little gathering, little reunion, little marriage between all these ingredients. We got the salt, the garlic, the fried onion, all of this dill, all of this parsley. Do you understand how green this mixture is? The egg for the binding, the bread to make sure everything is nice and tender, and the bread helps to stop some of the juices from spilling out of the meatball too. It keeps it all inside. Do you understand how serious I am with my meatballs? Do you guys understand my vision? Yes, that's right. I encourage you to stay up. Thank you, my lovely French viewer, for staying up for this. Oh, look at this meatball. Look at this meat mixture. Look at that. We're pounding it all out. We're smushing it all down. We're taking it, we're scooping it from the bottom and incorporating it all in together. Okay? And this is why we salted it before, because otherwise you're going to get like pockets of salt and pepper and breading, and it's going to be really, really unpleasant. It's not going to be what you wanted. Okay? So take it. Oh, yeah. Now that's a mixture. There you go. Evenly incorporated. Bam. There you go. That is what I call a thing, or rather a meatball mix. We gave it so much love. We gave it so much effort. It's going to be so herbaceous. Okay? It might be a little bit too much bread at the end of it all now that I'm looking at it, but guess what? That just means we're going to have a tender meatball. Okie dokie. Give it a couple slaps for good measure, just so it knows its place. Slap, slap. Okay, I'm gonna just try to wipe off some of the meat through my glove, and I'm gonna set this aside. And now, it's time to get ballin'. Who's ready to get ballin'? What kind of knife? This is my Kramer Zwilling knife, my carbon steel knife. So I'm gonna set up my balling station. I'm gonna show you exactly what we do here. Okay, I'm really excited for this. This is my favorite stage of the operation. So I'm gonna just take a second, I'm gonna put all this aside, I'm gonna put this all behind us, right? All the remnants of our past discussion now behind us. I'm sorry if that got too real for anybody, but also I'm not going to keep talking about divorce and why I think it's a good thing. I don't think this is the time or the place. What would I recommend for your first knife? I would not because it's a carbon steel knife. And carbon steel knives, I need to be wiping them off often. Unless you're really that confident that you can commit to something like a carbon steel knife, I would not recommend that as a first knife at all. Well, are you asking me what would I recommend? Keftedes. So I'm gonna also wipe off my station because we have some onions, we have some bread. Just keep it clean, keep it going, keep it wholesome. Okay. So let's get a big sheet tray going. Big old sheet tray. Well, this guy coming on up. Well, come on, buddy. So we got a big sheet tray right here. Okay. We're going to line this with foil because it's a little bit like, you know, it's old aluminum, it's like lost its polish. We're going to just foil this up. And we're foiling this up, again, just like in case any fat leaks, we'll keep it all inside. What would I recommend instead then? Well, this is a really big question. It depends on the handle, depends on the blade. For the first knife, you need to understand this. A lot of the cheap to middle grade knives actually use the same really not great quality of steel. For that reason, people suggest a Victorinox knife. Get the plastic handle Victorinox stainless steel knife. Okay? It uses a very, very cheap grade of steel that a lot of mid-end knives use and just sharpen it often. A Victorinox chef's knife. Okay, so we're going to line this with a couple more things of foil. Or just one more thing of foil. Because again, I just want a nice flat surface on which to do the meatballs. And let's set up the meatball station. Let's get it going. So, everybody, here's what I do for my meatballs. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to oil this up because my mixture is a little bit sticky today. And if we don't oil this up, it's going to end up sticking to the sheet tray slightly. If it's a little bit, I ended up like adding too much of the bread tends to make it stick a little bit more. You can use peanut oil, you can use any kind of neutral oil. I recommend using a neutral oil for this. Canola oil, peanut oil, avocado oil, vegetable oil, whatever you got, I'm using a little bit of peanut oil. Okay? I'm just going to spread this around my sheet tray. You can use a brush, you can use your hands. I'm gonna use a brush so I don't have to use my hands. And again, if your mixture isn't as sticky as mine, I ended up using a little too much bread. You don't have to do this step. This is, ooh, hey, relax. Don't do that. I might need more oil. It'll be fine. This is just going to help make sure everything comes off later. So, why am I baking this and not pan frying it? Well, you know, you could also grill these if you would like, but I find that with meatball mixture, and stuff like this, it tends to fall apart really, really easily if you're pan frying it. What's very nice about baking it off is all you have to do is shape it and then it will end up holding together inevitably. If your meatballs end up falling apart, it's because you're using like a tong on like a frying pan with them and you're squishing it and then it's just causing it to break in half. I really like doing this on a big baking tray because, hey, this is meatballs. This is a home food. To actually get them to all be perfect in a frying pan requires multiple batches, multiple iterations. It's a lot of work for a product that I don't actually believe is that different. I like to bake these off because I get to just do them all at once. Is it optimal? Ideally, you would deep fry your meatballs. I love a good deep fried meatball. The texture of those is amazing, but I hate deep frying at home. Okay, so this is what we're doing. So, here's what we do, my friends. Oiled up sheet tray, nice big sheet tray. I thought about the oiled up Incineroar copy pasta on Twitter for a second, or the oiled up Tony the Tiger. God, I think, have you guys seen that one? It's pretty good. It might be a little too niche though. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're gonna do. We have an excuse to use one of my favorite kitchen tools. You all ready for this? Is everybody ready for this? This is one of my favorite kitchen tools of all time. This is a cookie scoop. This is a cookie scoop. This is used for cookies. This is used for doughs. This is how I consistently and evenly portion all of my meatballs. This is how I do it. This is how I do it at home. Invest in a cookie scoop. This is the OXO cookie scoop. I've had this for like 8 years. And it's so fun to use. Look at this. Little grip strength trainer. Okay, we're gonna shape these out and then we'll do a recap session. I'll throw them into the oven and give them a little bit of loving. Huh? Let's get it done. So, ice cream, I mean, you can use this for ice cream. I use this for ice cream. I just don't keep ice cream at home like that. So, here's what we do. We take our sheet tray, we take our meatball mixture. It's time to get scooping. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that over the stove. I'm gonna do this here. Let's get scooping. We're gonna take a scoop, and this is a big one. This is like the large size of it. This is going to take about like 25 minutes in the oven, 30 minutes in the oven or so. We'll see how long it ends up taking. Big scoop of it. You're gonna pack it in nice and tight. Don't worry about rolling it into a ball quite yet. We're going to just use this to portion it, and then we'll roll everything into a nice ball, okay? Take it and scoop it out just to make sure you have nice even meatballs. The worst thing that you can have is uneven balls, okay? It's not even just about aesthetics, it's the fact that they won't cook evenly if you do that. This is really nice, especially if you're portioning out like cold leftovers, like when something is chilled. Like, you know, I didn't work in a kitchen, I apprenticed in one for like a few days. Like we did like a cold like mac and cheese. We scooped it out with this and it's really, really nice to do that. Okay, and we're just scooping it out. Nice big meatballs, that's the way I like them at home especially. You can make them as small or big as you want, but you have to adjust your cooking times. After you're making meatballs several times, the timing I like is about like 450 for 25 to 30 minutes. We don't want to overcook it. You can easily overcook a meatball and get it really dry. But the breading on the inside helps you have a bigger margin of error because it really tends to hold a lot of the liquid for the meatball. Okay, and we just keep it going. And then we're gonna ball it up once we're done with the scooping stage. Everybody understand? This stuff is fun, it's easy to do. I recommend everybody to invest in a cookie scoop. These things are so useful in a kitchen to have. I have two of them. I have a small one and I have a medium one. My tray ended up sliding. And again, this is lined with a little bit of oil just to really, really help it out, not stick in the oven. And we're just gonna keep going through all this. And again, it's been seasoned up really nicely. These are going to be delicious. Next time I want to do like a lamb beef one, that would be pretty amazing too. And again, don't worry about the shape. We're gonna just roll it up in a sec. Wah! My bowl just fell for a sec. It's fine. Ignore that sound. I did. Okay, and I have a little bit of meatball mixture left. I don't know what I'll do with this. Maybe just throw it out. Maybe make one really tiny one. That wasn't that perfectly portioned today, but it's okay. Okay. Look at that. Look how nicely that fits. Alrighty, everybody. So, let's get a second glove on and let's ball it up. Let's get meatballing. Who's ready to get meatballing with me? This is what's so nice about a cookie scoop. It does most of the shaping for you, but the only thing is it gives it a bit of a flat bottom. Okay? What was that like Queen song? It was like, not flat bottom meatballs. We're looking for fat bottom meatballs. Okay, or rounded ones, I guess. All right, that doesn't, ignore it. I'm sorry, this is a family show. It's fine. So, everybody, we have meatballs. We're gonna take it in our hands, and we're just gonna roll it up, roll it up. You know how to do that. Yes, Balin, I know the song. I know it wasn't about meatballs, but I'm making it about meatballs today. There you go, everybody's getting it. Thank you guys for helping out. And again, this is purely if you would like. You don't have to do this. I'm mostly doing this so that the edges of it don't get like too thin and burn. It's like a nice consistent shape all the way through. And the oil, by the way, that we put down on this actually helps it to not stick to the hands. It really helps the shaping process quite a bit. Okay, so nice meatballs. Look at that. Look at that. You look at the shape of these and you're like, wow, that looks like my Italian grandma. Or, you know, restaurant's meatballs. Guys, it's so easy to do delicious meatballs at home. I love making a whole batch of these, freezing some of them. Make your own meatballs. Nothing is sadder to me than like frozen Swedish meatballs. Those things are a tragedy. This is where it's at. People doing like the little cocktail parties where they cook it in like jam and stuff. What is that? That meatball looks like my Italian grandma. Okay, I'm glad, Duolingo. That's exactly what I was going for. I was making these and I was like, yeah, you know, I really hope this looks like Duolingo's Italian grandma. Is that how you say definitely in French? Quitting. Okay, we're balling it up. And we're going to do a recap session. And then we'll clean up a little bit. And then we'll get with the salad. You guys excited for dinner today? I'm excited for dinner today. Oh, yeah. I had one little teeny tiny meatball. He is so sad. He is so tiny. Okie dokie. Guess what? All of my meatballs have now officially been balled up. Let's do a recap session and let's plug the Patreon one more time. Is everybody ready for this recap session? So, let's have a little water. Let's have a little water first. Everybody, today we're making three things. We're making three things today. We're making some Greek meatballs, okay, called Keftedes. In Turkish, I believe, or I'm not sure if that's a language, but you call it like kifte or something, right? It's a very similar word. We're making these really delicious meatballs. We've made this really, really incredible feta red pepper sauce. I'll show that off in a second. And we're also making a Greek salad today. You can type an exclamation mark menu, by the way. Everybody do that, or one person do that right now, just to make sure they have a nice list of that. So, the meatballs, they're ready in front of me. Let's talk about these first. I'm doing these in an oven. I'm doing all these meatballs in an oven because it's very nice to do it in batches. These meatballs are full of herbs. Traditionally, you would use mint, oregano, and some parsley. I had fresh parsley. I had some fresh dill, not mint, so I used that instead. And we added in some oregano as well. So they're full of herbs, not just a little bit. I mean, you can see how green and studded with it they are. We had some stale bread, and we soaked it in some milk. We had the stale bread because that is how we get a really, really tender and juicy meatball. The bread is what gives it that soft, supple texture because we're not looking for a hockey puck. We don't want this to be pure meat. We took some onions and we fried it in a bunch of olive oil to add some extra fat to the whole thing. And then also to get some sweetness inside. We added some garlic for the taste of garlic, for the pungency of it all. Okay? And we added some egg for the binding. These meatballs are no joke. We made this incredible paste. And they're about to go into a 450-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes or until I feel like they're done, okay? And we used a cookie scoop to shape them out. Next, let's talk about this incredible dip that I made. This is the thing I'm super excited about for today. This was inspired, all of this came from, I had a little bit of extra feta. I had some extra feta cheese today. And so, I wanted a very nice, elegant way to use it up. And so this feta gets blended up. Look how creamy this is. Look how smooth this is. We charred some bell pepper, some red bell pepper. We charred some of the excess Thai bird's eye chilies I had in the fridge. We charred it, we took the skin off of it. We blended it up with some olive oil, with some lemon juice. Okay, we don't need any salt because it's made with the feta. We blended up the feta and we added in some yogurt. And it has everything. This dip, this sauce, has everything that you could possibly want. The saltiness from the feta, the creaminess from the olive oil, or the fattiness from it rather, the creaminess from the yogurt, and the tang of it, the lactic tang from it. We have the sweetness of the red bell pepper, and we have the spiciness of the chili, and the acidity of the lemon. This sauce, this dip, the spread, you can do this with bread, you can do this with anything you want. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's acidic, it's salty. And this is what we're going to serve the meatballs today with. Let's have a little taste. Outrageous. That is so easy to do. Do this at a party or something. Serve this with some bread. It is so easy to do. It took just a few minutes to throw together. This is one of the yummiest sauces I've done. I'm so fucking white I said yummy. Sorry, I got excited for a second. That is a damn good sauce. Okay? One more little taste for Daramgar. This German double cream feta that I had is so creamy too. Look at the texture of that. You wouldn't believe that's made with feta cheese. And it's not traditional for it to be done that like smooth either. Okay? It's not that traditional for it to be done that smooth. Typically be like quite chunky done in a food processing. But that is how I like mine. To be something like this. Excellent, isn't it? Okay, and then the thing we're going to be doing after we set the meatballs into the oven is we're going to be working on the salad. So we had a bunch of cucumbers, we had a bunch of tomatoes. Okay. I'm going to show you that right now. And we basically had it sitting with some salt to get rid of all of that. You see all that excess liquid? Cucumbers, tomatoes. We're going to make a salad with olives, with olive oil, with vinegar. It's going to have a bunch of seasonings in it. It's going to be really tasty. And that's a fully seasoned vegetable. That's awesome. So we're going to get to that once I'm done with the meatballs. And everybody, once again, if you would like to support me, if you would like to support these streams, please support me on Patreon. You can also sub, you can type an exclamation mark tip or donate, but if you really like to support, the best way to do so is on Patreon. Anything helps. I'm trying to get the grocery costs for these streams covered. I'm approximately trying to get like $240 a month to cover the cost of the groceries because I spend on average about $20 per stream. I do 3 streams a week, Fridays, Wednesdays, and Sundays at 5 p.m. EST. So if you'd like to support, type in exclamation mark Patreon and chat. Anything will help there. We're getting close to the goal. Running these streams is expensive. I got a lot of cameras going, and I want to teach you all how to cook, and I want to keep this free for the majority of people. There's also a private Discord community that you get from that. There is a community Discord that we have for free, but then we also have a private one if you want to get some more one-on-one interaction with me. Okay, everybody, that's enough shilling. That's enough about that. Meatballs, 450-degree oven. I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and we're going to put it inside. And we're going to cook this for about 25 minutes. 25 minutes, we're going to check on it, and we're going to decide if it needs any additional cook time, okay? So, I'm just getting it in the middle of the oven. No, you're not at the end of the stream. We're just baking off the meatballs right now. We're just baking these bad boys off. And then we got a bunch of other stuff. Well, not a bunch. We have to make the salad still. Okay. That's all done. I'm going to take a second to clean some stuff up. I'm setting a timer for 25 minutes. And we're doing this all in the oven to do it all in one batch. I don't love frying meatballs at home. It takes a lot of space. It takes a lot of time. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world. Okay. I got to clean some stuff up really quickly. So don't mind me. I'm going to take a second to do so. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? And let's finish up that salad. Let's do that. We're cooking at home. You got to clean as you go. There's no other way to do so. We have a little bit of downtime. Now's the time to do it. Okay. Let's get that all into my dishwasher really quickly. Woo! Okay. How do you cook? So in Russian, whenever somebody would ask a stupid question, like growing up, or like a rhetorical question, we would answer with molcha, which translates to silently. So like growing up, if you'd be like, hey mom, how do I do something? You'd sometimes get an answer of silently. So how do you cook, SMG Hottie? Silently. That's how you do it. Well, actually, I'm kind of doing the opposite. I'm doing anything but doing it silently because I'm teaching all of you how to do this at the same time. So maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite in this case. Okay, I'm just getting my bowl washed off, the one that once held all of my ground beef mixture. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that into the dishwasher as well. Okay. Is that Greek in the title? Yes, it is. Yeah, I definitely do not cook. I definitely do not cook silently. I do anything but that. Okay, everybody, so we did the recap session just now. Let's move on to the final stage of the operation, which is actually going to be finishing the salad. So let's get those onions done, my friends. Let's get some onions done and taken care of. So it's a Greek salad. You know what that means? It's gonna have red onions in it. Red onions are nice and pungent. They've got a bit of sweetness to it. You can use any kind of onion you want, but red onions are nice and striking. They're so pretty. I'm gonna use about half a red onion for the salad. Okay? Half a red onion, and as always, we slice the head off. And we're gonna do something special to this onion. We're going to have it basically sit in the vinegar for the salad. We're gonna have it sit in advance so that we get rid of some of the pungency from the onion doing this. So this nice thick half, this other half I'm gonna put in the fridge. I'm gonna show you how I do it. I don't use plastic bags because it seems stupid. If you keep this exposed in the fridge, it tends to dry out. So I do this and I put a little teacup over it. It's kind of janky, and I've definitely taken this out and broken a few teacups as like a teacup would fall to the ground. But this is my favorite way to do it. I just regularly have these half onions at home. And also, I want to talk about something. It's the difference between destructive prep versus non-destructive prep. I'd never chop my onions in advance for something. I never have like a bag or box of chopped onions. The longer your onions sit in the fridge, when they've been chopped up, or the more anything has been sit when it's chopped up, the more water it leaches out, the softer it gets. It loses a lot of its crunch, it loses its vibrancy. So I never like chop up a bunch in advance or anything. I only chop it when I'm ready to use it. Okay? I really, really do not recommend that you do that. That you chop it up in advance, like buy like boxed minced onions. You don't know how long they've sat there. They don't cook the same. They release all of their liquid super quickly. I hate having pre-chopped onions. I hate it. Some things you can pre-chop. I think like root vegetables are okay, like carrots. It's like fine, but onions, absolutely not. Do you understand? Do not pre-chop those onions. Okay, this is what we do. Here's what we do. We're gonna take this and we're going to cut the root of it off. We don't need the root. We're going to slice this parallel to the grain of the onion. So you see how the cells are going this way? We're going to slice it parallel to that. We want nice, thinly sliced onions. Just like so. What about pre-chopped bell pepper? Same thing. Any vegetable, any like fresh vegetable that's like really wet, cucumbers, tomatoes, onion, I never pre-chop that stuff. Never. I don't see enough people saying, yeah, chef. So thin slices, because I don't want thick slices in a salad like this. Okay? I want them to be nice and thin and evenly distributed. So, here's the issue with onions in salads. You know what the issue is, guys? The pungency, especially raw red onions. So how do we get rid of that pungency? You guys have seen me do this a million times. The answer is acidity. It's not a pickled onion. We're just getting a little bit of vinegar in here that is still going to end up going into the salad anyways, and that's going to slightly soften it, but it's going to get rid of the harsh onion edge, okay, that a raw onion can have. And this is a Greek salad. If there's anything that Greek salads have, it's a lot of vinegar. So let's be generous. We don't have to use all of it, but the acidity is welcome. And in we go, big lug, and a big lug of vinegar. Just cover it up, and we're going to just mix this around, and we'll add it in after it's allowed to sit. So same exact idea with leaching out the water. We go ahead and use that. And so, does any kind of vinegar work better, asks Dr. Slowbro. Traditionally, you would use a red wine vinegar. I don't have any, I just use some white distilled. Really, any kind would be fine, function-wise. It's just different kinds will have different tastes. White distilled is very neutral in taste. Red wine vinegar is the sort of like classic one that you would use here. So we're just covering these onions up a little bit. Just make sure that, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. The longer it sits in the fridge, the more pungency it's going to lose as well. We're just gonna have this sit and we're going to add this only at the end of the process. Okay? Excellent. So, let's go back to Mr. and Mrs. Cucumber and Tomato. Look at that. Look at all that water that we got rid of. We don't want that in that salad. That's how we get a soggy salad. Yes, a balsamic vinegar would be fine too. But I find that it's a little bit intense. I mean, anything would be fine, really. So, I got a colander. I got one of these bad boys, ready to go at a moment's notice. I'm going to dump this over the sink and then put it over a bowl. And we're going to let it sit for a few minutes. There is a reason we did this over a bowl to begin with. It's so that everything is like evenly covered in the salt and the salty brine. If you do it immediately over the strainer, it won't sit in the salt long enough. So, over the colander, into the sink, we lose a lot of that liquid. Guys, let me tell you, all of that liquid would have otherwise ended up in the salad and given us a soggy, unpleasant salad. Okay, and now, the colander is going to hold the cucumbers and tomatoes. We're going to just let this sit together for a little bit, for maybe another 5 to 10 minutes or so. Just spread it around, make sure it's as flat as it can be. And we're gonna mix this up every once in a while. Are you guys excited for the food today? Are you excited for the food today? I'm excited. I know it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna be damn good. Okay, and remember, once again, we're going to be grating the feta. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from a shepherd salad. So I want like that shaved feta that I grew up with eating. We have a lot of Turkish restaurants in my neighborhood. I take a lot of inspiration from it. I want like that shaved pile of feta on top. I'm gonna show you what that salad will look like. So we freeze that feta. The meatballs are currently going. I'm gonna just take a peek at them. Smells lovely. It smells like the herbs. That smells so good. It is the frozen one. I took it out into the fridge so it wouldn't freeze too much. You want to freeze it in total from like 10 to 30 minutes. Maybe a little bit more on the longer end because we're going to be shredding it, or grating it rather. Oh yeah. And guys, let me tell you, already, you can see, even though this was the stuff that we drained into the colander, look at how much more liquid is still coming out of this that would have otherwise ended up in the salad. We don't want wet salads. Chat, do we want wet salads? Do we want wet soggy salads? Or do we want fresh crunchy ones that are perfectly seasoned? What do you want? Fresh salad or wet salad? There's one right answer here. Have I made fattoush salad before? I have not. Also, welcome on in. How do I say that? Ansin? Fresh chef, fresh and crunchies. That's right. And I like my salad chopped. I don't love massive pieces. I want to make sure that I can get a bite of everything in one spoonful. So, next components. We gotta get the olives in there. We gotta get the olives in there, and we gotta get the fresh herbs in there. So we're gonna put aside the parsley and the dill. The dill isn't too traditional in a Greek salad. But guess what? I have dill and I want to use some. Okay? Use what you have. None of this is about, guys, authenticity is sometimes overrated. You have to think about the intention and you have to think about ingredient quality. Okay? I am using dill today. Okay? I'm using dill today because it's what I had at my local store. I live in a Russian area. We have a lot of really good fresh quality dill, and Russians don't cook with a lot of mint. As a result, the mint in our supermarkets is kind of old, it's kind of stale, it doesn't look too good, it's not too pretty, and it's just not the freshest. I saw the dill, I got inspired, let's use some of that dill, baby. So, I don't want a crazy amount of dill. It's not the main component in the salad. However much that is, I'm not measuring it, I'm not counting it, I'm just eyeballing this. We're going to mostly use parsley. So, remember how finely we minced it before? We don't need to finely mince it this time because this is all for the sake of a salad, okay? And when it's going in a salad, you don't gotta go crazy with it. So, let's take it off the stems. It's especially important in a salad that you take it off the stems because the textures are not that pleasant in my experience. Everybody, you need to get comfortable using dill. I don't care who you are, this is one of the most underappreciated herbs in American cuisine. Okay? This is, it really, really is. The way that, it's such a tragedy. The only way that I see people use dill is when it's like salmon and baked with lemon for some reason. It's so boring. If I see one more lemon dill salmon, I will kill somebody. I don't know who. Twitch, that's not a threat. So use it in your dressings. Use it in your meatballs. Use it in your salads. Dill has so much to offer, except nobody gives it a chance here. Nobody knows what to do with it that's not salmon and lemon. Okay? Or dill pickles. Yes, everybody does dill pickles. Ugh. So boring. It's time to branch out. It's time to learn. Okay, that's fine. So, salad. I'm gonna have some water. I'm getting a little dehydrated. Take it in your paws, in my little dog paws. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna ball it up, and we're gonna slice it. We're not gonna crush it. We don't need to go super fine because this is for a salad. I just wanna make sure that my dill is evenly distributed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, keep it going, keep it going. Don't stop. Don't stop, baby. Keep it going all the way through. And we're just gonna do one more pass through. Okay? I don't like having massive like fronds of it. If I can be gross for a second, guys, do I have permission to be really disgusting for a second? I don't love massive fronds of dill. I also don't love massive fronds of fennel for a very similar reason. It's gonna be kind of gross. For whatever reason, the texture of it, when it's in like big massive things like this, is somewhat pubic. Not crazy about it. So, even though if I'm gonna like keep it somewhat rustic, I don't want massive, little fronds of it, okay? I don't want massive ones. It's what it reminds me of. When it's smaller, it's a little bit more tender. You don't get that association at all. For me, okay, that's enough. I just wanted to, it's my best analogy. I was thinking about mentioning it or not. I apologize. I know that's not what you would want to necessarily think about when it comes to dill. And I know I'm not selling dill. I think I might have done the opposite, or maybe I sold it to some of you freaks. Not my life. But the point is, you know, we want to keep it chunky enough that it's like nice and rustic for the salad, but not so finely minced that it disappears in the salad, okay? You want to feel the dill. Enough, that's enough of a discussion. Enough, we don't mention any of this again. This is done with. This is a family-friendly show. Somewhat, think. I don't know. Okay, enough. We don't mention this anymore. Everybody, what do we mention? You gotta say nothing, chef. What did I just say? I want to hear the nothing, chef. Please. Please, I'm begging you. So, a little bit of dill. And let's also get some parsley done. Yum, yum. Nothing, chef. Perfect. Okay. Let's look at the cucumbers and tomatoes once again. You can see this bowl is filling up with all of this brine, all of this liquid that it sat in. Yeah, everybody just like, you know, like, what's that movie called? Where they have the little thing that makes you forget your memory, like, pew. That's what I just did to all of you. Mix up the cucumbers, mix up the tomatoes. And we're going to continue to let it drain off for a little bit longer before we finish the salad. Yum. Men in Black. There you go. Perfect. That is fully seasoned. That is yummy. Okay, parsley. You got to get these herbs in here, guys. Greek food is all about the parsley. It's all about the herbs. Look at that. I don't want too much parsley in the salad. I just want, you know, whatever amount that is. We'll use more parsley throughout the week, I'm sure. Might even use some food garnishing after, just to make everything look nice and pretty. Let's take out. Well, you want me to make the pew sound effect? Was that a good sound effect? I practiced that one. I don't have a lot of sound effects I'm good at. I just have a few that I would stim on and would practice over and over again. I also do like a very good grinder sound effect, like a no. I need a couple of practices of it. Okay, so we're taking it off the stems. That's enough. We're gonna make sure that it's going to get nicely minced up for the salad. The parsley, again, I don't love in big pieces because it gets like kind of a papery texture. Oh no, that is the worst thing that you could say. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to Azrael's mom. Welcome on in. No, I hope you're joking. I hope I didn't take you too literally. That's enough. This is a family-friendly show. It is. I got carried away today, okay? I apologize. Parsley. We're taking it off the stems. We're taking it off the stems. We're taking it off the stems because, again, I don't want that texture of the stems inside of the salad. The dill isn't too traditionalist, but you got to have the parsley. You cannot go without it in something like this. And we're going to take it, and we're going to ball it up. Again, if I had the thing that's just like... My voice cracked. I couldn't get the full sound out. No, I am firmly apologizing. I want to keep this a solid PG-13 is my intention. I want to make this accessible for everybody to watch. Okay, take it in our hands. Let's ball it up. That's a PG-13 thing. I get like 1, but that's how it works. It's not balling up that well today. That's okay. Let's just go through it and let's slice it up. Let's slice it up. And the meatballs, they've got a few more minutes on in the oven. We'll take a little peek on those in a moment. Okay, and we're just gonna do one more pass through. Again, we don't wanna be like too fine with it. This is not going into the meatballs. This is just purely for the sake of the salad, so you wanna feel all of your fresh herbs inside of it. Okay, excellent. Okay, so we got some fresh dill, we've got some fresh parsley. Let's go ahead and finish draining off my cucumbers and tomatoes. So you can see this is what's left at the end of it all. Right? Let me just pluck those out. I'm gonna pour this down the sink. We have no use for all of that cucumber, all the tomato water. It'll just end up making our salad really, really soggy at the end of it if we leave it in, okay? I'm just gonna wipe off that bowl and let's mix it all together. You ready for this? You excited for this? Oh, I forgot about the olives. Gasp, it's over. Okay, you know what? I'll let that drain off a little. Nah, let's mix it up now. Okay. And I'm gonna just dump that into the bowl and then we'll go from there. Okay. Excellent. I'm gonna just put my colander into, oh, if you wanna see what we're cooking, type in !menu Pimu. We're in the final stages of it all. I'm gonna put my colander into the dishwasher really quickly. Okay, just get that done. Okay, everybody. So remember what we did with these cucumbers and tomatoes? We let it sit with the salt for a very long amount of time. We got rid of all that excess liquid so our salad is not soggy. And now, what we're adding to this is all of my lovely dill, all of my lovely parsley. Okay? All of that is going in now. That's how we get a nice, delicious, fresh salad. The cucumbers and tomatoes are perfectly seasoned. The olives are gonna be salty. The feta is gonna be salty. We do not need any more salt in this salad. We have a lot of naturally occurring sources of salt. Okay, the final step is going to be the olives, and I wanna try something. I'm gonna try something cute for the olives. This is a trick that people do with cherry tomatoes, and I have a feeling it will work well with olives too. What people do with cherry tomatoes is they take like 2 plastic lids and they put their like cherry tomatoes and like olives in between and they slice it in half that way. And I want to see if that will be effective. Chat, do you think this is going to be effective? Do you think this is going to work out? Might not work with the olives. I don't know why. I mean, I'm guessing it could work with olives because they got like a similar shape to that of a cherry tomato. Let's hope so. All right. So let's get some olives in here. You just want like a flat layer of olives, right? Just something like that, I would guess. These are pitted calamatas, I believe. It ended up in a mess. Well, we got a nice sharp knife, so we'll see. This might be a little overfilled. I've never done it before. I've always thought it was kind of cringe. If it doesn't work, we'll do it the regular way. So here's what we do. Olives. No, not necessarily. These are really, really nice olives. Guys, go to a place with an olive bar. Go to a Middle Eastern market. Go to an Eastern European market. I promise you, an olive bar will change your life. There's so many different beautiful kinds of olives out there. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set them down. I'm not squishing or crushing the top. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this up in half. Running my knife through it all. Slicing through. Oh, did it just work? Okay, that actually just worked. Whoa. Do you know how much time I just saved doing that? That was pretty sweet. Wow, why haven't I been doing that sooner? Okay, let's dump it in. Let's do the next little thing of olives. It's all about the olives in the salad, baby. Gotta get those olives in there. Actually, the only thing we're going to do, we're just going to flip them over and make sure that none of them have any pits in them. Because even though these were pitted, you cannot trust these grocery store olives. You cannot. You never know what's going on in your olive. Okay? Remember to check your kids' Halloween olives for pits. It's dangerous out here. Okay. Imagine giving out olives as a Halloween little treat. Yum, 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 yum. Guys, if you think you hate olives, I promise you, you've just eaten like really, really not tasty black canned olives, like the kind that you would get like on a pizza or something. Ugh, unpleasant. Hate that stuff. Okay, that worked out really nicely. I'm just going through them one by one again. I really want to make sure that all the pits are gone. We're going to do another small little batch. In the meantime, let's check on those meatballs. Let's see how that's doing. You guys ready to take a look? You ready for the inspection? See how we're doing? Catch up with these guys? Let's pull them out. They've got technically like 3 minutes left on it, but I'm just starting to smell like it's really heavily cooking. So I want to make sure nothing is burning. Yeah, it's burning a little bit on the bottom, some of like the released juices. But look at that. Look at that meatball. Again, a little bit will always scorch when it comes out, when it leaches out some of its liquid. But that is a really nice looking meatball. They look nice and firm. I'm going to just cut into one to make sure it's fully cooked through on the inside, but I have a feeling that's fully cooked through. Look at that. That's a really nice looking meatball. I'm going to take the side of a fork. I'm going to cut into it. It's sizzling away. And we'll finish up the salad. Everybody, we're making good time today. We've been cooking for 2.5 hours. We're almost done. I'm excited to eat. Okay, only thing I'm gonna do, I'm just going to peel them off like when it's not like cold, because they'll get like really sticky. It's got a very nice crust on the bottom. Yup, looking good, looking good, looking really good. Oh yeah, that's a good looking meatball. And I'm just gonna cut it in half. Oh yeah, that looks really nice on the inside. That looks definitely cooked through. Okay, we can clear it. You can also use a meat thermometer. You're shooting for about like 145, 150. 150 would be a good temperature for these things. Because it is ground meat, you don't want to like cook it medium well or anything. I'm just gonna taste it. Shall we sneak a little taste test? Let's sneak a little taste test of these meatballs. Come on, buddy, come here. Ooh, that looks good. Mmm. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mmm. Oh yeah. Mmm. 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 Oh, that's good. That's a good meatball. It's not a spicy meatball, but that's a good meatball. Mmm. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Not too chewy, not too soft. It's the perfect texture. That's the perfect bite. We're gonna let all that cool down now. We need less light on that. It's too much light. We're gonna let that cool down. Let's finish the salad. Okay, let's do the next batch of olives. Everybody, we're in the final stages of it. We're in the final stages. All we gotta do, finish the olives, mix the salad, and we're gonna add the cheese on top, and it's gonna be really nice. Okay, olives. Let's do a few more. I don't want the olives to become overpowering in the salad, but they're a very important feature of the salad. We want to make sure that they get the love and the attention that they want. Just like me, I love love, I love attention, and that's why I give it to my food. I treat others the way they want to be treated. Well, I treat others the way I want to be treated. Excuse me. Okay. And some of these olives are going to be later my snacking olives. I'm going to be snacking on these bad boys. No, they're good boys. They're not bad. I'm sorry, Mr. Olive. Okay, the rest of these I'm gonna put in, what's a few more olives? What's a few more olives? I'm gonna put the rest of those into the fridge for snacking later on. Am I counting? Nope, I'm just looking at how many olives I got. All right, let's take it once again, using this new method, right? We take 2 plastic lids. You can use a Tupperware lid, you can use like a deli cup lid, and we're just going to slide our knife in, and we're going in and out, in and out. We're sawing to make sure that nothing is sticking to the knife, that we're getting no resistance all the way through. And look at that. Look at those beautifully halved olives. Look at that. Perfect. And now I'm going to go through them one by one to make sure that they have no pits. I'm going to feel them with my hands. Again, you're serving a salad. You're serving it to guests. The last thing, I felt a little bit of a pit. I felt a little bit of a pit. Off it goes. Last thing you want to do is serve them an olive with a pit in it. That's how you break a tooth. You don't want to do that. You want to break through minds with how good your food is. You don't want to break through teeth. Okay? Unless it's somebody you don't like, in which case, serve them olives full of pits and say it's not pitted. Swear on your life it's not. Then you can be evil. Devilish, even. Okay. Guess what? That is all done. We have no more chopping to do. Actually, we do have some grating to do. We do have some grating. Okay, I'm gonna take these lids. I'm gonna go ahead and put them into the dishwasher. The lids have done an excellent service for us today. Right? They were super, super useful. They made sure that none of the olives really slipped away or anything. Okay? And the last step is gonna be shredding up some of that cheese. Getting the olive oil in there, some oregano in there. It's time to season up this salad. You guys ready for this? You guys ready for the salad? The salad's gonna be no joke by the end of it. It does not need any more salt because again, it has the salty olives, the cucumbers and tomatoes are seasoned. And now this is my red onions. They've been sitting with some of my vinegar. Okay, so that we lose some of the pungency from it all. All right, excellent. We need all of that acidity. Right? You can't have a Greek salad without plenty of vinegar in it. Red wine vinegar would be the most traditional, but all I had was like white distilled. And then we're gonna get some olive oil. How many glugs? We're gonna get some glugs, some big glugs. I mean like whatever amount that much olive oil is. Okay, that's a lot of olive oil. It's a Greek salad, right? Italians and Greeks, you know what they love? They love the olive oil. Okay, you can't have too much of it in something like this. It's going to naturally drain itself out. That was like 6 glugs. Yeah, we were glugging. Okay, next thing, some oregano. Some dried oregano. You can do fresh one as well if you would like. But I have some of this dried stuff. And so very nice. This is a really, really nice dried oregano that I got from my Turkish store. This isn't like your average McCormick dried oregano. The stuff, I mean, it is so aromatic. You only need really like this much of it. Okay? And we're going to get some black pepper in here. Let me just put that oregano away. We definitely don't need any more. Let's get some black pepper. Okay, and let's mix it up. You guys ready for the salad when it all comes together? You ready for this? Gotta have that black pepper inside. Perfect. Ooh, guys, I am excited to plate it. I'm really excited for all of this to come together. Let's grab a glove. Let's get a paws in there. My nice, dainty little paws. Let's get it inside. Okay, let's break up the onions. All right, and now we don't want to squish anything because we have olives, we have cucumbers. We don't want to squish any of our lovely vegetables. Look at how, ooh, that's a lot of olive oil down there. Look at this salad. Look at this salad. This is what I call a salad. And we're going to taste it for seasoning in a second. The cheese is going to go purely on top. I'll show you exactly how we do that. Oh, look at that. Look at the salad. Guys, was I joking around when I made the salad? Was I kidding? Was I joshing? Was I messing around? No. This salad is serious business. Okay? That is a proper salad. Covered in olive oil. That's exactly what you want out of your Greek salads. The salad is serious, serious business. Okay? Oops, excuse me, got a note if I had to check. Okay, a little bit more. Just get it all through. Get it all through. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, we mix it up. Let's have a taste. Again, I don't think it needs any more salt because a lot of the components in here were salty. So I'm just going to give it a little taste altogether. I might need more, actually. I got olive oil on my face. No. That's not what I wanted to do. It has plenty of salt. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Yep. Look at that. Okay, last step, we're going to pack it into a container, and then I'm going to cover the whole thing with cheese. I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. Oh, I'm excited for this step. This is my favorite step of the operation. Let's see how well this ends up working out. This is how I'm going to store this. I'm going to store this very intentionally because I'm getting inspired by the shepherd salad I grew up eating. Okay? My inspiration is a shepherd salad I grew up eating. And so, whenever we would get like takeout of Turkish food, it would always be covered with a bunch of feta cheese on top. Ooh, that's a lot of salad. Look at that container of salad. I'm going to show you what we do. Pack it in. And I'm wondering if I should do this on a plate and transfer it. Let's do this on a cutting board and transfer it. So, look at that salad. All right? Beautiful stuff. Beautiful. Gorgeous even. I'm just going to wipe off my table really quickly because I got a bunch of yuck on my table. Okay. Set that aside. Let's get my cutting board again. Right? I'm going to wash off my knife actually really quickly because again, it was like cutting olives. I just want to keep it all clean. I want to keep my station clean. I want to keep my tools cleansed. And so you don't typically see feta cheese grated, but because we froze it, this was frozen feta that we used, right? We put it in the freezer for about like 20, 30 minutes or so. Would be the ideal time. You don't want to freeze it into like a block of ice or anything, but you want it frozen so that it is firm. Okay? I would ideally have liked some more feta than what I'm using right now, but we've run out, and the entire goal of this was to use up my leftover feta cheese. Take it out. There we go. That's my little block of feta. I know it's not a lot, but we'll make do. Country girls make do, don't they? And for this, I'm actually going to intentionally keep it stacked up vertically. I'm going to show you. Big grates of feta cheese. I like having a glove because your glove is a little bit cooler than your hand temperature, so it doesn't melt it as quickly. Oh yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. No, you're not ready for the salad yet. You're not ready for the salad. We're going to cover this thing in a mountain of feta. Okay, take a look, take a look. Look at all this feta. Look at all that feta. We take this feta, and we're just going to cover the salad with that feta. And I mean all of that feta. We're going to use that entire block. Look how nice it is to have that frozen feta cheese for something like this. And guess what? As a result, is that how you say the tag? This is basically TV. What we are doing here is creating, I want to create a TV show on Twitch. That's my goal. I want to teach you all how to cook at home except I just want to do it live. I want to make it real. I want to show you what it means to cook at home, what it means to build up a home routine. Okay, let's finish shredding it up. Again, the fact that we froze this is what allows us to shred this up in the way that we are. It's starting to fall apart a little bit, but that's okay. Get all of it off, right? There we go. That's our whole block of feta. And let's cover that bad boy up. Let's cover it up. Again, we only froze this for 20, 30 minutes. I could have probably frozen a little longer. And this was my extra creamy, my double cream German feta, right? Hence why it is this creamy. Look at that. That is what I'm talking about. And then when we take a scoop of this and put it on a little plate, that's where we get to really show it off. There we go. Okay, perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, everybody, guess what? We have finished every single component. Is everybody ready to plate? Are you all ready to plate? I'm going to take a second to clean up. I'm really, really excited to show you all the final product of everything that we've done. We put so much work in. This was a Sunday dinner. We made every single component that we have here today. I do not mess around the cooking. And Duolingo, if I ever feel like not cooking, guess what? I have leftovers from my other streams. But yeah, I definitely had days on stream where I didn't feel like cooking, but I pushed myself through it. It's a lot of self-discipline. I save so much money by cooking at home, you know? I love cooking. I love the creative challenge. I love coming up with new things and new ideas and pushing myself. I want to become the best cook I can be because I want to teach people how to change the way that they cook at home. So we're going to take a second. I'm going to put some things away really quickly. Okay? And then I'm going to show you how we plate everything. I'm a little excited for the plating. I was going to make it pretty. I was going to make it a little fancy today. I have like an image in my mind of what I want my plating to look like, you know? But also, if you don't feel like cooking, you need to have enough things in your pantry that are kind of easy to throw together. Whenever I don't feel like cooking, I'd usually do like a rice bowl for myself, like a really simple, delicious rice bowl. I wanted today's dinner because I wanted to get some protein in. I haven't really made Greek food that often. And so, I mean, Greek food, really similar to Italian food in the sense that it's all about the produce quality. It's all about having really nice produce and letting that stuff shine. Right, okay. Everybody, we're getting there, 1 second, please and thank you. We're getting there. Okay. I do have an endless supply of blue bowls. We have so many bowls at home. We have so many. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay. I'm just getting everything into the dishwasher because, again, I don't want to do that after the stream. I want to do that right now. I'm letting the anticipation build up for what we are about to do, what we're about to achieve here. Okay. Wash my hands off really quick. Okay, everybody. Shall we begin? Shall we begin the great plating? You ready for this? Okay, I think it'll go well. I think it'll look nice. We'll see how it goes though. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's go over here. I want a nice small plate for the meatballs because I'm doing it, it's its own separate dish, right? Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to take that really beautiful creamy spread that we did. You remember it? Everybody remember it? Everybody remember him? Remember that creamy spread that we did? With the feta, with the red bell peppers and everything. Red bell peppers, feta, and yogurt. Oh, so good. Let's take a nice big spoonful of it. We're gonna mix it up really quickly. Make sure we get all the drips out of it. We're gonna dollop it right in the center. Right, look at that really, really pretty hue it has. Okay, I want a generous portion of it. Right, get all that fat. And let's get this to be in a really nice, pretty circle. Okay, right on the plate. Something like that. I think that'll be good. And now, let's get some meatballs on there. Because this was the base of my meatballs. This is what I wanted to serve my meatballs with. Okay? And now they've cooled down enough that we can definitely like eat them at this stage. Let's see if this actually comes out nicely at all. Let's give them a bit of space. I'm gonna do like 4 meatballs for myself. Maybe 3 meatballs. I don't want like too much at the moment. Okay? And then I'm thinking maybe a little bit more sauce on top. Or maybe we just garnish it straight up with herbs. Let's just do the herbs. Let's do the herbs. Let's do some dill. I have some parsley, I have some dill. Let's go ahead and sprinkle that around. You know, we'll see how this comes out at the end of it all. Maybe the blue plate wasn't my ideal color choice, but it's all I have at home. You know, let's take some dill. I'm gonna take some of the fronds of it. And we're just going to go ahead and scatter some of that on. Give it a little bit of textural contrast. Just to really tell us what's happening inside. What is inside of these meatballs that we have here today? Okay. Is it essential to this? No, it's going to give the whole thing a little bit of freshness. That's all it's doing here. Shall we do some of the parsley as well? I think we should do some of the parsley too. Let's do some of the parsley. Just a few. We don't need to go crazy with this. This is almost exclusively for aesthetics. Okay. Again, I don't know how nicely this is coming out. I just want to try, right? Let's scatter this around. You just don't want it on the edges of your plate. That's the only thing you don't want. You just want to kind of, you don't want to like tweeze this on or anything. You just want to, you know, lip it up a little bit and let the parsley just kind of fall on the plate. All right. I think that looks pretty decent. Throw some cheese on them. I was thinking that. I'm thinking maybe just a little bit of sauce on top, but honestly, yeah, I know. I was thinking I would want some cheese on there, but I've run out of feta cheese. I've used all the feta cheese for the salad. So maybe I think I'm just good. Maybe I'm just good on the plating on this at the moment. Okay. And now we're going to do a salad on a separate plate. So everybody, I don't really care about plating too much, but I want you all to understand something. The way that I approach cooking, my #1 philosophy with everything that I do, this is important. I need you all to listen to me right now. I need you all to listen to me. And I'm very, very critical of a lot of plating. The way that I approach plating is from radical functionalism. I serve things in a way that it makes most sense to eat them. Let me tell you something I hate. Imagine going to a bistro. Imagine going to a steakhouse. Imagine the times they put a steak for you on a plate with like a green salad next to it and like your fries there. Your fries get soggy from all of the liquid released by the steak, and then your salad gets warm. Why do you want that all in one plate for the sake of putting it all together and making it look nice? It has no function that way. These are intended to be eaten separately. This is the sauce for the meatballs, so they go together. My salad goes on a separate plate. I'm not going to put these all on the same plate because I don't want the person to feel like they have to eat it together. They're intended to be separate dishes. That is the way that I think about plating. So I approach plating purely from a functional sense. That's how I approach all of my cooking. I think about a problem, I look at the way that others do things, and I think, man, I hate the way they do this. I want to do this better than them. But I'm not doing it for aesthetics. My first goal, above all else, is to not affect the function of the dish I'm eating. So I wanted the meatballs on top of the sauce because it makes sense to eat them together, and I thought of a way to make it pretty. And I wanted some of the freshness of the fresh herbs in there as well, so it's not just cooked meat and sauce. So in here, in this bowl, let's go ahead and get a nice big scoop, a nice big spoon. I'm gonna try to get a nice big little like cross section of the salad. Try to like preserve some of the cheese on top, right? Just take it, take the whole thing. Maybe the spoon is a little bit small for such a task, but that's okay. Yeah, that spoon's gonna be a little bit small. That's okay. Let's grab a big spoon. In that case, let's grab a nice big spoon. I'm trying to make things look nice. I'm trying to get better. It's one of my like weakest points when it comes to actually cooking. Right? The salad is like almost layered, right? Because we have that layer of cheese and everything directly on top. So we want to kind of keep it all together over there. I don't need too much salad. I don't need a crazy amount of salad. Right? Something like that. That's really tasty. Yeah, it should be fine. And then, let's get some really fresh herbs in there because why not? We may as well. It's already representing the salad. It's not going to affect the taste too much. Okay. Let's get some of the parsley. Just a couple leaves. Tear it up a little bit, you know. Scatter it on top. We're not going crazy with it. We're not, you know, destroying it. Just a little bit. Okay, pop that into my fridge. And let's get some dill. Let's get some dill into the mix of it. There we go. Nice and simple, nice and easy, not overly complicated, not pretentious. This is simple food. This is all home food. I'm actually quite proud of it. I think I just had too many herbs on this plate. So, everybody, guess what? We have done it. We have officially done it. I'm quite proud of myself on everything that I ended up making today. Who is ready for the final recap on everything that we've done so far? Who is ready for this? Let's talk about the salad first. Let's talk about the salad. We made a fairly traditional Greek salad with a couple of extra additions, my friends. We started off with cucumbers and tomatoes. We hit it with a whole bunch of salt. And we let it sit with the salt for the course of an hour. We leached out all of that excess liquid and we strained it off. We had a bunch of red onions. We sliced it up nice and thin and we covered it with vinegar to get rid of the pungency and the harshness. We had some fresh parsley. We had some fresh dill because I already had some. We have some feta on top grated for the saltiness of it all. Okay? And we have some olives for that funk, for that oomph, for that saltiness. Covered in olive oil. This is what a proper Greek salad looks like. Full of herbs, full of freshness, full of cheese, full of oil, full of acidity. This is a balanced salad. And this salad, this is the accompaniment to our beautiful meatballs and this feta sauce that we made. All of this started because I had a block of feta I needed to get rid of in my fridge. And so I was like, okay, let's make some Greek food today. Let's get serious with it. Let's get serious. So, look at this sauce under. Look at that beautiful, like slightly orange sauce. It's like a creamsicle orange, right? That sauce, we charred some bell peppers for the sweetness. We charred some bird's eye chilies for the heat. We took it, we blended it up with freshly squeezed lemon juice, with olive oil. Okay? And then we added in some feta, and we blended it all up and we added some yogurt as well. It's salty from the feta, it's fatty from the olive oil, it's acidic from the lemon juice, it's nice and creamy from the feta and the yogurt together. That is an incredible sauce. You can do this with bread, and I blended it smooth so it's a perfect sauce for the meatballs. And the meatballs themselves, we made this incredible paste out of some stale bread, out of some egg and some milk, and we let it soak. We fried some onions so that we don't have wet, raw onions going into this dish. Okay? No raw, wet onions. We fried it properly in a bunch of olive oil, added some additional fat that way too. We chopped up a ridiculous amount of mint, a ridiculous amount of parsley, and a bunch of oregano as well, and we added it in. We added in some garlic, we mixed it up, and then we baked it off, and then we served it on top of a beautiful sauce. Everything was so easy to do. Everything lasts in the fridge so well. The salad lasts in the fridge exceptionally well. It's the kind of a thing that you can pick up and eat. The meatballs reheat great. The dip is excellent cold. This is home food, and I used up leftovers. And it was easy to do. We just did it all at once, so that's why it took so long, and I took my time. Everybody, I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate all of you listening to me throughout this process. Does anybody have any questions before we dig in? And also, if you would like to support what I do, please type an exclamation mark Patreon in the chat. Please support if you can. Any and all helps in that regard. We're not leaving yet. We're going to taste it. We're going to taste this all together first. Okay? We're going to taste it. We're going to rate it. Yeah, please support the Patreon if you can. You can go into the About section. Tips and donations and subscriptions help too. Okay, let's have a little bite. Cheers. Let's say a little meatball, and we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to have it just go in all of that sauce that we made, right? And get some of the herbs. The meatballs are excellent. They've got like a bit of toothsomeness. They're not so tender they fall apart, but they're not so chewy that they're like hockey pucks. That is the exact kind of bite that you want. You're getting all of the herbs, you're getting all the seasonings. The sauce is just slightly spicy. That is incredible. That is so good. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Everybody needs to make that sauce. You need to make that sauce. Let's try the salad. Look at this salad. Olives and onions and tomatoes and feta. So many strong flavors all together. That's really good. That is remarkably good. And that's it. Everybody, final cooking questions. I'm here to help you learn how to cook. And in the meantime, we're going to go see who else is live on Twitch at the moment. But in the meantime, I appreciate all of you watching. Remember, every single Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Next time is going to be this upcoming Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, I'm really glad you liked it, Linkers. That's very sweet of you. Hector, yeah, on my way. I'm sending it at the moment. Ooh, my friend is playing Tekken. We're going to go ahead and raid her. That'd be lovely. Everybody, thank you all for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Next one is going to be this upcoming Wednesday, 5 p.m. EST. It's going to be right here, twitch.tv/Daramgar. I appreciate every single one of you, as always. You're all so sweet. You're all the best, audience I could possibly ask for. Once again, if you missed any point of this VOD, you can always go on the YouTube channel. You can type in !YouTube to find the link in chat. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and go on over to Rose's stream. She's playing a little bit of Tekken. We're going to hop in. We're going to go ahead and say hi. Everybody, thank you again. You're all the best. You're all the sweetest. Wednesday, 5 p.m. EST. See you then. And have a really good, lovely rest of your Sunday nights. Thank you for spending your Sunday with me. Bye-bye.